Is it Salius or Salius? I assume it's Salius.
It would be Salius, like salient. Salius.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Dude, I can't believe he actually has a monocle.
That's pretty basic.
He does. He does. He
So
absolutely. Yeah, I know. It is very base. I'm a big fan. I just love
like
his
the
face.
idea
Like
that you
his face came out perfectly. Like it really did.
I like the idea that all of your order are assholes like you, and that they hired mercenaries, and just the mercenaries are just like, I can't fucking deal with these guys anymore. That way we can go further in the adventure, visit your monastery when the entire party is fed up. It's like, oh my god, it makes so much sense.
They're all everybody else is like, oh, yeah, that guy.
No, I kind of want them to be like very like the complete opposite of him. They're like, yes, that's just how he's always been. You understand? Just
something within him animates him to be so.
Yes, yes, and he performs. He does well. So
I can't wait to see his trauma.
What? Oh yeah. Okay.
His what?
His trauma, because we have the you'll see eventually.
Okay.
So, welcome to the Paladin Partner, Season 2, Episode 3. Because that is indeed 3, and we are bringing Alexander into the fold now, as was the case when we last did the first 2 episodes of this D&D campaign. We did so because Alexander was not here, so it's come full circle. Somebody else is not available, and we're at a point in the other campaign, Ascension to Sazerac, where we need everybody available. So because of a freak power outage on my part, we couldn't meet at the preordained time yesterday. Instead, we fixed up a character for Alexander, and then got to the point where we were scheduling a mid-afternoon session, which is very rare. We're always on in the evenings. So, lads, it's time to introduce Alexander's character. Please tell us a little bit about your character, Alexander.
His name is Augustius. The rest of his name will be held back
for now,
for humor reasons. And he is a kobold, a blue kobold, and a cleric of the dragon god of justice and order, Salius, wellspring of the seven-tailed. He is fluent in Common and Elvish and Draconic. He is scholarly, very well read, very well spoken, well mannered, and pompous. He's very pompous. Some might say arrogant. But he is extremely sincere. Deception is not something that comes to him, nor would he find it moral. And he has arrived to, let's say, comply with or fulfill a mission from, I assume, the settlement, the city, to deal with a grave matter, which he would be equipped to do so as he is a cleric of justice and order. And any time, in any place, and anywhere that something is breaking the law or being cruel or malicious or any terrible and wicked thing, he is very eager to be there and smite the problem out of existence. Or, in some cases, if violence is not it, to lecture profusely and for very long periods of time.
A classic move. So,
indeed,
with Augustius arriving as a pompous and let's just say he's got his own way of doing things. He's got his own thought process for how things should be done, and he's very, very particular about it. Now,
indeed,
Augustius came here as part of a troop of monks from the monastery who, of course, I'm guessing Augustius would fancy himself the de facto leader of the troop. Whether that is in fact the case could be up for debate, perhaps.
Yeah,
However,
yes.
Upon arriving to the keep of Sestan, the Sestani keep, you would have seen and you would have met with like an advisor close to the lord of the city. That sort of is the equivalent of a king, but the city's not big enough to have like actual monarchy or anything. It's more of like an outpost comparatively. You know, there's maybe a couple hundred people max that live here, as you may be able to gather based on the layout of the city and how tightly knit it is. It's not like Inalance where there's many districts where this would be like the size of a district, right? In Inalance where it's scaled down a bit. So the Baron of Sestan has apparently fled the premises, or at least he's no longer here in this moment. Ergo, when you met with the aide to the Baron, he instructed you to meet with the captain of the guard. And that is one of the reasons why that conveniently enough, before you were in the picture, the captain of the guard was not able to meet with Benson and Jason in the same day that they arrived because he was busy, going through meetings with many people, and your troop was slated to be among them. However, we can decide either that conversation is, something that you decide you volunteered for, and everybody else was like, "Oh yes, excellent. We'll go and do other useful things far away from you," or whatever. It depends on how you think that makes sense. Absconding from your side so that they can, staff the watch or go out on a scouting report or something like that, and have some kind of internal agreement to meet back at one of the taverns or one other place within the city. I think it's safe to say, and this is probably going to be great for your character's nature, it's safe to say that the Baron's aide would have provided you with a set of rooms within the keep. So, much more cushy position than a tavern room by comparison. And so something that you could certainly lord over any other commoner that you end up walking across. But one thing that the Baron's aide would have told you is that, to his knowledge, the threat has started to fizzle out or passed because of the heroics of a band of unlikely adventurers that were led by a paladin of Lathandar. So that's something that maybe would pique Augustius's interest and make him feel like he must perhaps go investigate them once he is through with talking with the captain. What are you thinking about all this, and does any of that stand out to you?
No, I like that, and I like that he would definitely be happy to have a cushy place in the keep away from the the rest of the rebel. Yeah, no, it sounds good so far.
All right, makes sense. So with all that considered and out of the way, I believe, and anybody is free to refresh my memory, but at the end of the previous session of this campaign, we had Fizz and Shoulder sleeping outside with the animals. We had Mithridates and Jason visiting the old man, the leader of the church, the sort of Temple of Lathandar, Order of Lathandar, that the head priest there, Ulrich. And I believe what happened there was Jason quizzed the religious leader about the celestial nature of his pact or whatever might be happening, right? Like, is he cursed or stuff like that? I'm pretty sure there was some talk of stuff like that.
Yeah, Jason asked a lot of leading questions about the adventure, about Jurgle, like, why are we going to Jurgle's realm? Was that mentioned in the report? The answer was no. So Jason ended up giving over a fair amount of information to the priest about, hey, we went to Jurgle's realm. We had to do all these tasks. What does this mean? Because Lathandar seemingly is involved, but also he didn't say it outright. But also, there's this evil sea presence that seems to also be working parallel to against the same enemy at the very least of Lathandar.
Right. What's your take on? There's many many deities or demigods or powerful beings that seem to be attempting to combat something or work against something. Yeah. So that's kind of the spiritual context within which all of this stuff exists. Okay, and then you asked him some questions. Benson repaired the table in the tavern that was shattered by Fred antics. I just remembered there was that whole showdown with the guard at the tavern who refused to let Shoulder, Fizz, and Fred in, and then they had to be convinced. And then he was really proven right. He really shouldn't have let you guys in, very clearly.
What do you mean? He doesn't know.
He doesn't know that he was right. I'm just saying he was right.
Well, he's right about Shoulder, maybe.
And Fred. Fred is the menace, the true menace. He was more right than he knew about that. So Benson swept up the human remains under the rug, classic move, and left that to be discovered for later, and then went to his own rest, I believe. Right? Benson slept as the rest of the party had.
No. Well, depending on how late it was, I was going to see how much of that shopping run I could do.
Oh right, yeah. You had the idea to handle all of that. Also, it's worth pointing out that I mentioned Fizz earlier as part of him and Shoulder working hand in glove together for a brief period of time, and they secured pies and fed Fred and all sorts of stuff. But they also met with a dark, sinister being, and Fizz is very unsettled by that, and Shoulder is conflicted about that, and yet Fizz is. Well, Balethal is not here to control Fizz, to pilot Fizz. He'll be in the chat, and he'll probably shoot some messages here and there about things. He's already mentioned that Fizz did nothing wrong, and I think that's actually true. A rare kobold voice of reason. However, okay, so as we have another kobold in the party now, there will be some development there, I think. And so I'll just leave that there hanging in the air, and we'll get back to that. So, rounding us out, Mithridates was with Jason during the spiritual conversation. I don't believe he added much in that. He was very tight-lipped about his own spiritual thoughts and feelings and involvement, in fact, which does fit with what was the sort of character of what was being discussed. So I think that basically rounds us out to Benson's doing shopping, sort of kind of late at night. Jason and Mithridates are out getting answers and waiting for their time with the captain of the guard. Yes, I remember Jason making private sacrifices. I do indeed recall that. And so, yeah, it'll be. Is there any? Are you good to potentially the two groups here, Benson and Brother, the Hound of Benson, and Jason and Mithridates? Do you think you two are crossing paths because Benson's got shopping to do? I will have to.
Since Mithridates is stretched for time, I'll let him take the lead here.
So wait, he said he's stretched for time, but he references just a time code, which is 4:15 my time, which is in an hour. But is that your time locally, Lucy?
Yeah, it's my time. I've got an hour and 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you have an hour and 15 minutes from where you are now. I thought you were all the way in PST because you're in Cali or whatever, right?
Yeah, I'm in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada. Okay, that's like California. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, basically.
All right,
just works in every way.
In that case, we can get on with introductions for sure, and kind of full steam ahead until Lucy does have to depart, and then we'll pick up. We'll just continue on. Maybe we'll use that as an excuse to take a quick break, get water, etc., and then come back and continue the session. So. Thanks for accommodating everybody's weird schedules today, by the way, guys. It's nice to still get some D&D in. Here's the goal, or here's the idea, right? So Jason and Mithridates are now done with their conversation with Ulrich. The time will be pretty close to like 10 at night, very dark. The city lights in the walls are going to be springing to life, but many of the houses will have quieted down. There's far fewer pedestrians, so it's much easier to kind of recognize each other walking through town at this point. But still, some of what Benson wants to shop for should be within range, and we'll say that he's been doing some of that anyway. Let's see here. So we're going to say that for your equipment list here, 3Crow, you were able to... I will start periodically adding items to your inventory throughout this based on what you've done. But we'll say that you're a little bit more than halfway through your list and that the other half can be completed once daybreak happens, right? So, at this point, it's probably best to, you can decide what you think would be best, but that would be what to do next if there was anything else to do. But as night is on the way and, Shoulder is going to be waking up shortly, and theoretically Fizz after. Though I don't think Benson knows the status of the other party members. He would know that Jason and Mithridates are still about.
I figure Benson would just be going about his business, assuming that everyone will be meeting back up in the morning somewhere.
Okay, so
we all agreed to have a meeting with the captain, at least the three of us, Mithridates, Benson, with the captain the next morning. So it makes sense that Benson would be aware that we're going back to the tavern eventually.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So you'd probably be midway through the market district by the time this is all happening. And would Mithridates have anything in particular he would want to do during the downtime? Or during this little...
No, I think he's still drunk.
That's right, even a little bit of meditation, especially with the extra
Speaking
bits
of which, Jason offers Mithridates a sip.
He knows his limits, and he will politely reject it.
And Jason will drink it instead.
Okay. Well, make sure to track the uses of that. That's an important resource for Jason. Guys, did you know Shambler wrote out rules for Jason's drinking? He's got his own rule set for that.
Since I can't remember where we left off on the drinking, I'm just going to say he's tipsy, and that's my first free drink.
There you go. Ain't nothing that's free. So, in that case, since Mithridates is still buzzed, drunk, whatever, and Jason is, probably able to figure that out based on looking at him, is Jason going to be going anywhere else in the evening, or is he going to return to the tavern in the hopes to see the captain of the guard?
Jason will take his lightweight friend to the tavern, and then look to clean his daggers and all the weapons for sale tomorrow.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, you take an accounting of things in your room, I believe, so in your tavern room. All right, and that leaves us with obviously Shoulder's going to be waking up shortly, but Augustius, you were due to meet the captain of the guard. We can say that you're, basically a quick rundown of like short questions that you might end up having. I'm guessing that a man like Augustius might be mildly miffed that they've made this journey, and they don't seem to actually have their services be required. But I don't know what kinds of questions you'd be asking the captain.
I would ask him, what was I like? I didn't get much detail originally about what happened. So what happened?
Yeah. So the reason why you were even summoned to begin with was that there was a significant uptick in banditry from an organized group of criminals that was threatening the integrity of the city by way of controlling trade routes, like entirely slaughtering and butchering, the merchants and stealing their belongings and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So that was the nature of it, and it was looking very grim. That's the trueness of it. Maybe they reached out to you relatively soon, or maybe they reached out to you as a desperate bid. But either way, the nature of the thing, and to have been summoned all the way here is no small feat, because obviously you come from a mountaintop or mountain region,
Monastery.
right? Monastery within the mountains. So, yeah.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna ask him, like, who took care of your problem?
Right, and the captain of the guard would definitely have given you like would have leaned back and given you a little bit of a sigh, almost disappointed sigh, and he says something to the effect of that a band of misfits, one of which was often a criminal himself, seemed to have turned their swords onto the others. They are led by a good holy man, but for the rest of them, I have little care and maybe little trust. But he's not going to give you too much info. You can sense that he's maybe giving you a little bit of a half answer to this.
Okay, so what we're doing right now, are we like role playing right now in the moment, or is this like
it's like a summary of what happened,
up?
so that I'm catching basically we're summarizing this conversation for what any important questions you asked, and I'll give you any important information he gave you, that kind of.
Then I would immediately ask, who's the holy man?
All right,
what god does we serve?
You'd learn that it's Benson, son of Ben. He is a paladin. A paladin of Lathandar. He's not actually a native to this city per se. He was born and raised in the Northeast, but he leads the caravan of paladin suppliers, and essentially is responsible for keeping the Order's little outposts stocked and ready to go, should there be any issues. And so the fact that he was able to clear the problem is miraculous, but it makes sense that he would want to, considering he needs the roads to transport his goods, right? So.
Right. Okay.
You'll also learn that there's a plan for a sort of celebration in the morning to commend these heroes of Sestan, and that he'll grumpily say any outstanding criminal charges or reputations will have to be expunged, referencing at least one of the party.
He will look miffed and perplexed at that, and then ask as to what crime they are guilty of.
You're not going to get much information with that question. You'll just essentially say being a lout.
Augustius will grimace and look very displeased by this, but the fate often uses the most unlikely of peoples to see that justice is meted out. So, all right. Then he's gonna ask, where can I meet this group of unruly misfits led by a paladin of the dawn?
So he would say that his face will light up as you ask this question. He's going to basically say, well, they are expecting a messenger from Sestan. You could certainly give them my thanks yourself if you were so inclined. I recommend you search for them in the Evernear Tavern. It's near the Southbridge Gate.
I see. He's going to look slightly offended. It's like, hey, you relegating me to a messenger boy? And he's gonna say, you don't have another beneath you to see that this is done?
Well, if you were interested in examining them yourself, perhaps we could use fresh eyes to pass judgment on these heroes.
He's gonna steeple his little scaly fingers together and go, Yes. Pass judgment. Yes, I will pass judgment. Very well then. By the way, I'm not using his accent yet until I get to the party.
Yeah, of course. We gotta save it. All right.
I gotta save everything. It's gonna be a great introduction.
Excellent. All right.
All right.
In that case, is there any other questions you have for the guard? Captain of the guard.
While I am here, is there other vile and unruly matters that must be tended to?
You're going to see his face kind of, as you start to speak, or as you ask the first part of your question, you will see his face kind of crinkle into a bit of a frown. Feel free to ask the rest part of your question.
No, that's it. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
He'll say, I don't think any of them are worthy of your attention. I do apologize if you've made your way out here on our behalf and find that your services are indeed not required, but I hope you can enjoy the best hospitality we have to offer. And he'll reach into one of his many little pouches on one of his vestments, and he will produce some kind of card that already bears a signature upon it, and the crest that you suppose is the crest of Sestan. You've seen it in the keep before. And he'll hand it to you. It looks like some sort of bird of prey with a grain feather, or not a grain feather, a grain, like a bit of grain in its beak, like a single ear of it. And he'll hand it to you, and he'll say, if you present this to any of our local proprietors, they will offer you the best that they do have to offer.
Okay. And I've already forgot what you called it again. It's like a sigil.
What, the crest of Sestan, you mean?
The crest of Sestan. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. He will look a lot more pleased about that. So. Okay, so there is something to deal with, and you will see that it is done.
Alrighty. With that, we can have you bring. Basically, you have your target, so to speak, which is the Evernear Tavern, labeled E on the map. We can we can toss you over there for now, and you can tell me if you stop on the way later. I'm just going to switch over to Shoulder, because Shoulder's going to wake up and going to notice that Fizz is still sound asleep. It's very dark out, as you expected when you slept in the middle of the afternoon. So your plan can begin to be put into motion, but first you need to. Did Fizz sleep on you? How did that work? Do we know?
I honestly don't remember.
Because you guys are still attached. Oh, wait, no, maybe not. No, yeah, you are. You're definitely attached.
I would have assumed he slept on a different part of, like on part of Kyle or something, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah. I think that makes the most sense. But, oh, I get it. You're all still attached to Kyle. That makes I believe I was sleeping in the trees because I was mad. Okay, Balethal with the info. So that does make sense. So in that case, if you want to make sure that you don't make much noise for all of that, then we can say you're going to be bringing you're obviously going to be bringing Fred with you, right?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, I think I got it. No. I can't do it.
No, he doesn't.
Ah, I got it. Well, I can't select Fizz for some reason, but that's okay. Okay, So you're free.
I'm free.
You're 3. I just gotta... I don't know what... Is it this? No. I don't know what Fizz and Fred are attached to, but... I cannot select either of them, so that's pretty funny. Oh well. Alright, well, I'll work on that later.
The game stole Fizz before the DM could.
I know, and also Fred, apparently. Well,
yeah, I kind of
oh my
need that
god,
guy.
Fred's gone rogue. He's become sentient.
Well, it's
Are
weird.
Are they stuck to Fistral?
No.
Fred is the witness.
If you can't be attached to each other because I can't select one after I attach it, so they guard against that. The idiot proof.
Can you move Fizz?
Are they attached to the caravan?
No, the caravan's too far. Can you move Fizz at all, or you still can't select them?
No, I can't. I can hover over him and see him, but I cannot select.
True. All right. I don't know.
He is beyond the power of mortals.
Yeah, they're. All right, I'll give you a new Fred.
Yeah, double Fred.
That's fine. Don't worry. Don't look at that one. Oh wait,
Fred
maybe I can
imposter.
see it here. I right-clicked them. Can I find the attach? There's no way. He's using magic to protect Fred. Yeah, that makes sense. I wish I could just... How do I... Oh! I can make it... Oh, it doesn't work. I thought I could make him invisible. Well... I hit the question mark button, but that didn't help me.
I did a spell. Did that work? I gave you guidance. Roll higher.
Yeah, on trying to decouple them? No. I don't know what the fuck they're attached. That's so weird. That's
the
okay.
Trees.
It's not a problem. We'll just pretend that's not the real Fred.
Yeah,
So you've been
fine.
able to escape without making noise because I took too long to figure that out. So are you moving directly into town? What's your plan here? Because there's
what is the
distant lights on the walls and guards.
So he's gonna hop from the trees. I imagine he'll probably end up on the pass. What is like the... Obviously, he doesn't have like any kind of time telling ability, but like, what would be the general amount of time he would expect that he has to return to the spiders, or to go see what's going on?
Yeah, from about here,
with the
you'd
spiders?
expect about like 2 hours of time before you need to return, and it takes like 30 minutes to get there from here by Kyle.
Okay, so about an hour and a half.
Yeah. By the way,
Whoa.
when you get to the when you get down to the pass, or maybe before you even depart, you'll notice one of the guards is kind of snooping, like looking over at the steel watch, and he's come kind of like close to him and giving him the look over, trying to stand on the tips of his feet so he can really see everything about it. He's like examining. He's like, "What's going on with this thing?"
Do I see him like from before I leave, like from the trees?
You can see that he's kind of looking around, not really poking at it, but using his eyes to poke at it. You know?
Yeah. All right. He's gonna, from the trees, he's just gonna say, "Hey, what are you doing?"
The guard will almost like leap back, and he'll say, Nothing at all. I was... Oh. As he sees you, a more confident look comes over his face, and he says, Now, I was examining this feat of engineering.
Looking from the steel watch to the guard as he hops down from the trees, he's going to say, examining. Were you supposed to be doing that?
It is the right thing to do for a guard of Sestan, to examine what is surrounding it.
I could be convinced of this, but I have a feeling your post was not to examine.
He's gonna look at the back behind him to where there's another guard with, you imagine, a rather smug smirk on his face or something, because he's chortling in the distance. You can't really hear it, but you can tell with the way that his shoulders are rocking up and down that he's having a good time watching this. And then, fuming, the guard turns back to face you and he says, "There are many men at my post. I am free to examine any potential threat or ally."
I mean, whatever nonsense your captain allows you to do is not my problem. You have examined enough. Please leave.
In a huff, the guard will turn around and return to his station wordlessly.
With a shake of his head, Shoulder is going to return to the tree line. Then once he's like deep in it, he's going to pull out his lute, and he's going to attempt to craft with minor illusion a piece of parchment with writing on it.
Okay, so expend the minor illusion and also give me an Arcana check. We'll see how convincing. Oh, you know what? We could do deception instead. Whatever you get.
I was gonna so I get a better roll on Arcana, or sorry, deception. But I was wondering, Arcana for what's on the paper, deception for how much I can make them believe it's true.
We can save deception for the presentation of it. Sure, that makes sense.
Okay. Perfectly 12, as all things should be.
By the way,
this paper, I would like this parchment to detail a goat of the woods exiting the mouth of a giant snake.
Okay.
And speaking.
Is it like a report of what was observed or something like that?
Yeah, it's some official written paper, maybe one that would be hard to imagine that an idiot bird would have, but a report of a goat in the woods.
Okay, got it. So you've basically crafted this missive which details an encounter with a strange, clearly malevolent spiritual being of great power that emerges from an enormous tunneling serpent. Is it just going to be that kind of vague, and then like maybe the implying that you ran off after to, this report was made by someone who ran off to pass it on afterwards and didn't get any other information? Is it just going to be like that, like just the encounter with it?
Yeah. There's no like. It would
discourse between them.
The report would be just the snake and the goat.
Got it. And it's on, and it's near Sustan, right? It's like off the.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So you've been able to put that together. The words definitely. It's like you're able to pretty easily, or obviously due to being a Kenku, you're able to pretty readily remember the way that other reports are scribed. But we'll say that the based on your Arcana roll, just translating that into an illusory page will, if somebody was stared at it long enough, they might see like the words start to morph a little bit. And so it's best to only show this for a short time to people. Otherwise, after a few seconds of staring at it, it might maybe a minute max. There might be some kind of falter, a glitch, so to speak.
All right. With this, Shoulder's gonna start to like it wouldn't be something as silly as jumping jacks, but it would be like forced exercise to maybe he'll ruffle up a couple feathers or something.
Okay, yeah.
And then he is going to start running towards the guards.
Including the one you just told to go.
Yes, including the one I just went to go tell away.
Okay.
And as he arrives, he with a huff and a puff, he's going to say, "I'm sorry," and then he'll take a deep breath. "I am sorry for our exchange earlier. I have just found this paper. It reads about some strange creature in the woods," and he'll flash it. "I believe I must speak with the guards immediately, or with the captain immediately."
Fred will next to you as the guards move close to examine to examine you, and one of them clearly his eyes are kind of like moving towards the paper with the intent of like reading it or trying to get a better look at it, and say what now? You were fine just a moment ago. The guard that was previously talking with you says incredulously. This is where you probably want to roll deception.
I will do that in a second, but I have a vague explanation for this. He's going to say, "Yes, I know, but then you left and I turned, and one of my, well, you know of my spiders, one of my spiders brought me this. Said they found it in the woods." Should I mean, obviously, like, letter of the law is deception, but should a performance check be made as well? I don't know.
Whatever you think is going to roll better. So you
so
decide.
It's both +4. So.
Okay, whatever you want to roll, whichever one.
I'm a fucking bird. Holy bird.
Wow.
You could have told this man you were his mother.
I'm going to be honest, dude. I didn't think you were going to get this one. You see what he rolled?
Damn.
The gods have willed it so.
Damn.
Somehow your compelling tale telling is enough to break through the guards and their collective understanding as they read. And I'm guessing you're showing more of the paper to them, or letting them read it for a little bit longer.
I'm trying to like point at the part where it says the woods.
Yeah. As they read over the parts, they skim over the parts that you're pointing at, the constant moving, obscuring any magical glitches that might be taking over the paper and making it hard to tell, and the flickering firelight of the torches. As one, and without even waiting for each other, they both give each other a look, and one of them nods, and the other swiftly sends his hand up in a hand signal. As his fingers flash, there eventually you hear the grinding of an enormous wheel inside the guard's tower, and indeed, the gate begins to raise up, allowing entry. He says, the one that you had spoken to and apologized to, says, "We know not where our captain is at this hour, so one of us will go and investigate that. If we find him before you, we will meet at the large clock tower in the middle of the town."
Okay. Whatever works. Any ideas of where I should look?
"Last we heard," says the other one, "he was meant to investigate or he was meant to speak with the other heroes that removed this bandit threat we've been so assailed by. And I believe your comrades are stuffed away inside the Evernear Tavern, so perhaps a look there would suffice."
Okay, will do.
All right. Benson, as you are making your way back to the tavern with some of the loot, some of the haul taken care of, it's going to be a stark sound of the gate opening and then lowering is something that you're going to recognize as abnormal from the few nights you have stayed here. In fact, you can't think of another evening where the gate was raised and then lowered so swiftly, which might mark the arrival of something or someone.
Benson definitely sees it as unusual that the gate is opening and closing at this hour.
That's right. Whether you choose to investigate that is up to you, of course, but I just wanted you to know that you'll hear that as you approach the tavern.
I will look to Brother and I will say, how odd. I hope nothing is the matter. Perhaps we should take a look.
Brother will look to you, some items having been stashed upon him. And then the DM will attach him to you so you can move with him.
A giant hand comes out of the sky, and your bodies fuse into a dog centaur.
So as you approach Benson, you'll see a quick exchange between Shoulder, Fred still atop him, and one of the guards, and then Shoulder will begin to move forward. So, do you want to say anything first, Shoulder, or do anything, or whatever, as you see Benson and Brother there?
No.
Yeah.
Shoulder will give you a nod as you approach.
Yeah.
Is everything all right, Shoulder?
Yes. Just checking out the tavern. It's been a while.
Is there a tavern near us?
It's directly, the Evernear Tavern. It's directly north, past that other structure. It has been about 8 hours since Shoulder was last in the tavern. Yeah.
Ready for a bit of ale, are you?
Whatever I can find.
Benson will just glance past you out the gate, still curious as to why it was opened.
Give me a. Are you examining specifically, or are you just kind of casually glancing?
Casual glance.
Okay. You'll notice a little bit of movement off in the distance, maybe past the caravan, but it could just as easily be some animals in the night than anything. It doesn't immediately arouse any suspicion.
Well, how are the spiders doing?
With this, he'll think and he'll say, "Well, Spider, just Kyle. I need to pick up the others in about an hour."
Fair enough. Have you tried asking them, Shoulder, if they like ale?
No. They kind of remind me of Fizz. They like shiny things, or at least Harry does.
Shiny, you say? Perhaps they would prefer mead then.
I don't really know the difference.
Well, if you're headed to the tavern, I'll buy you one. How about it?
You go ahead. I have some stops along the way. Like you in the market. He says this because he sees Brother having a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of knickknacks. Drunk Kyle would be.
Tell you what.
I don't think you'd have a brain after that.
Just because I'm curious, I'm going to go grab some mead, and I'll meet you up. I'll meet up with you when you're done shopping back here.
For mead for Kyle or for me?
Perhaps both.
He's sleeping.
That's all right. Brother here will wake him up, and I'll pat Brother's head.
Brother's tongue falls out of his face as he pants with happiness.
Okay, well, he likes you, but if he chitters more than 3 times, he means no.
Noted.
And with that, Shoulder will give you another nod and a pat to Brother and be on his way towards the market district.
All right. You'll notice it's significantly more devoid of life walking through. There's not nearly as many passersby, and the few humanoids you do see are mostly guards. The market district itself is mostly closed. And this is a good time to bring everybody else into the tavern, because that's where the homies are. We've got...
It's time.
It's tavern time, dude.
Do I know how to make poison?
Do you know how to what?
The classic D&D meeting place, the tavern.
Do I know how to make a poison?
What a question.
I have poison ingredients. Shoulder would remember this.
Yeah, that doesn't help me. Do I know how to make a poison?
You can do your best from what you know about nature, but it would definitely require ingredients that I don't believe you have, unless you have a poisoner's kit lying around.
I don't. I'm wondering if the market district would have such haphazard ingredients that I could make something of such.
You can try and steal
the problem is that the market, all the stalls are basically closed at this point, so because it's so late at night. I don't think you'd be able to pull something like that off.
All right. Well, seeing that Shoulder is going to start making his way back towards the tavern area, and I lost Fred.
Oh no, not Fred! How did that happen?
Fred was eating at the tavern.
Fred the fraud.
How did you lose Fred?
So, is Augustius coming to us in the middle of the night?
Well, the meeting that he had was was basically at 10 o'clock or whatever, right? The same time now. So he probably arrived in the late afternoon from the northwest. The Etelote
Oh, he's just a
Pass.
posh prick who doesn't care about the sleep schedules of the commoners.
Yeah, see?
No, I mean, as a posh prick, he likes his sleep, so,
That's why he was, it's partially why he was miffed about the idea of doing more stuff before he went to bed, but his curiosity and superiority complex got the better of him.
Indeed.
All right. As I begin to approach the tavern, Shoulder's going to duck into an alleyway. He's going to cast Disguise Self to become a human.
Okay.
And I'd like it so that he'll be slightly more... it'll almost be because Fred usually sits on his shoulder, right?
Yes. Fred usually sits on his shoulder.
Can I make it so that the human will be slightly broader shouldered so that Fred gets almost enveloped in the illusion of my shoulder?
Okay, yeah. So Fred's not there.
Yeah.
Visibly.
And then once he's done casting that, which I will use the spell right now, he will start back on the path.
Okay, so let me hide Fred and let me see.
And no Fred.
He's hidden. He's a secret Fred. A fraud.
Fred the fraud.
That's right. Okay, so I have something here that will work with this, I think. What kind of human are you disguising yourself as? I know it's broad-shouldered, a guy, probably, as a result. But is he... Can you give a description of his appearance?
He would look probably a little gruff. He'd kind of almost hunter type, because I imagine the crossbow would be showing on shoulders, back. Sure. So yeah, he'd look a little gruff and hunter-esque. Okay. Yeah, that works.
Yeah. Okay.
And as he keeps walking, I'm going to use the bathroom, so I'll be RB.
All right. That's fine. Do that, and then let's do this. Okay. Should be good then. Which means now it's time to bring everybody together. Huzzah! So
Jason and Mithridates are at a table playing cards.
You think so?
Yeah, he rolled the card check.
Ah.
I just can't figure out how to do my own card check, so.
Well, there you go. Here, let me clean out some of these homies. It'll be a pretty slow night for the tavern, considering everybody's already home. Also, I think I forgot to start streaming.
Seriously, how the fuck do I set up a card check? There's a chest check.
Dude, Lucy won't share the tech. He's gonna keep it himself.
Fine, then I'm gonna just go roll inside and say that's my check. Oh fuck, he wins. Okay, he got 2 gold off of Jason.
That's pretty, yeah.
Oh, I don't have 2 gold.
Oh shit.
He gets my 4 silver.
All right, you guys should. Alexander should be able to see as well as Shoulder since they're not in the map yet.
Forget how broke Jason actually is. He needs to sell these daggers.
Yep. You can pay him in daggers.
Daggers and like all the swords.
All right, I'm going number 1 real quick. I still have my headset on, so feel free to keep talking.
Yep. All right, Alexander is going to be AFK for a bit, but he can hear us. So Jason and Mithridates are playing cards when Benson and Brother arrive. The guard there looks weary, but gives you a nod and allows you pass without without issue. So, there's not very many patrons at this hour, and one of the last ones that is not recognizable to you just finishes tossing her coins down and begins to leave.
Vincent will approach and give a smile to the barkeep and say, "It seems the hustle and bustle has died down."
Oh, aye. The man will gruffly reply, washing mugs and many other dishes in the water bin near him. You have anything else?
Indeed. An ale for myself and the 2 gentlemen over yonder. And then a bottle of mead for later.
I return.
As you give this these options, the man will begin pouring the ale into 3 distinct mugs. A whole bottle. All right, I can do that. I'll need some time in the basement, but we should have some left over. And as he sets the ale down before you, he'll begin to walk towards the towards what you surmise is some kind of basement entrance.
Would Benson know off the top of his head how much all of that is?
So he'll ask for a piece of copper for each ale, and then the mead will be 5 copper. So it'll be 8 copper altogether.
Okay, I'll put a silver on the counter.
He'll gladly take it and say, "I trust you lot. If anyone else comes through, just let them know I'll be back." And he'll start moving away.
All right, Benson will take one of the ales and try to balance them on Brother's back.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for an animal handling check on that one. Let's see.
No, this is a brother check. Brother needs.
Oh yeah, brother check.
Brother
Do
needs
a brother
check.
check.
No, I'm saying like brother needs a sleight of hand check here.
Don't spill this, brother.
You are right.
I trust you, the bartender says, makes a mess of his tavern.
Immediately. Okay, well, let's see if brother carries.
Come on, natural brother.
Natural brother.
Natural brother.
Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Oh no.
Oh man.
The
Hey,
plus
plus
2
4
minus
2?
That's because I have to give him proficiency in a skill in order to roll it for him because he's an NPC, and then the -2 counteracts it because he's not actually proficient. As you might imagine, a hound is not proficient in sleight of hand.
Even though we rolled 6 and a 9?
Yeah. Well, it's starting to get wobbly. You don't think it's going to hold. There's some sloshing, couple of bits spilled on their carpet.
Quick, dude, don't back down now. You got to inspire him. Make DM roll it again.
Well, carefully now, brother. Hold on. And I will I will try to get it on the flat of his back and like position it between a couple of the things that he's carrying.
Okay, that's enough to give him advantage.
Oh, I hoped that was him.
He's struggling. He's on the struggle.
That's even worse. How did it get worse?
All right,
Dude,
fine.
Just bring the beer. Like
no, listen. I respect the idea. It's just that brother is not. He's not equipped for this. We're gonna need to see. Let's see if he can.
Or Lucy's not even gonna meet the Draconin.
Oh.
Because
he's
brother catches it in his mouth.
As it starts to slip, brother somehow steadies himself, maybe arching his back a little bit to roll it back into place, and only a little bit gets onto the carpet. And then brother looks up at you expectantly.
Good boy, brother. Now, take it to Jason.
He, seemingly understanding your words, he looks straight at Jason. Is Jason looking at Benson and the dog?
As they approach, the two will hear Jason say to Mithridates, "Where the hell did you learn to play cards like that? I'm fucking first silver in the hole and I can't even fucking read you."
I was a soldier. I have plenty of experience with degenerate gamblers such as yourself.
Oh, shit.
Absolutely owned. Fully owned. Owned.
You know, I always thought elven army men were a bit more sophisticated. At this, Jason notices brother approaching and looks at the dog, and at first he's a little confused, and then he looks at the beer and just a smile just lights up across his face immediately. As okay. As he immediately grabs the ale and pats the dog on the head. "My little angel," he says, and then he starts drinking the ale, sliding a piece of food the dog can reach.
Benson sets down the second ale he's carrying for Mithridates and then begins sipping on his own. Are you winning?
No, Mithridates disappeared.
All right, I'll ask that to Jason instead since he had to go.
Well, Mithridates says that he'll buy the table drinks using Jason's silver, which is very funny. Because that's like 20 drinks right there.
That's also like kind of BM. Like, yeah.
To think I gave the lad free booze.
Yeah, that is pretty BM, so I like it.
All right. So here's how we handle Mithridates, right?
Listen.
Since he's so open to gambling and drinking with Jason.
Yeah.
He drinks himself to sleep.
Like he was I don't know. Do we say that he's good enough to he's actually he did refuse your ale or your hard stuff earlier, so maybe
here's what his note says. Mithridates will be skeptical, but according to
accepting of Augustius.
He's skeptical, but accepting of Augustius because why another creature? While in a meeting with the guard, he will be asking about other elven refugees.
Right.
Tight-lipped about where they would be heading.
Yeah. Okay. So I did read that, and that gives us some direction for sure. So let's just leave it as is, and Mithridates will just have this smug expression on his face because he's he's winning.
He's an elf.
You'll see. Yeah, he's also an elf. So you'll see that expression on Mithridates' face, Benson, as you set down the ale.
The ale.
So before Mithridates can respond to Benson's question of "Are you winning?" Jason will say, "What do you think he's fucking doing, Captain? Are you always this fucking dense? Learn to read a face. It will help you a lot, especially in your business."
I might be dense, Jason, but I still have hope that one day you'll play competently.
Oh,
devastating.
Got him.
Well, how about you fucking shuffle the cards then?
Let's go
And maybe
around.
I'll play you around.
Yeah, exactly. Mithridates will allow you the seat.
Jason chugs the ale in preparation. That is his second free drink. So he's out of free drinks after that, and then he has to start rolling of whether or not he starts getting drunk.
Not Shoulder approaches. He's a human. It looks like a rugged type, broad enough shoulders to be a proper fighter. A man that none of you have ever seen before. And the guard simply gives you a nod and gestures for you to enter with no fuss.
Not Shoulder is going to approach the bar.
All right. I like to say we're playing poker, me and Benson.
Something like that. Yeah.
But as he walks in, what does he see?
So you see Benson, Jason, brother, and Mithridates. And they are Benson and Jason are playing cards. Mithridates seems quite self-satisfied and is just sort of watching the proceedings. There's no other customers, and the barkeep that was pouring drinks earlier seems to have vanished. Though there is a little bit of movement from his wife, who is cleaning up the place a little bit more. Same as what he was doing before. So, looks like you could still get some service if that is indeed what you were after.
Not Shoulder. As he walks, he's observing. We'll say like he sees all that as he starts to walk in, and as he goes, he'll say, he'll look to the three and he'll say, in a very human voice, "Oi, thank you for your service." And then he'll walk to the bar. But he won't say anything as he sits down. He won't call attention.
Yeah.
to
Makes sense. So, any reactions to this new human that's walked through? We're just gonna go on and get back to card playing.
Benson will give him a side eye as he is shuffling his hand, but nothing too immediate.
How's Jason feel about being thanked for his service?
I'm gonna roll a wisdom check to see if Jason is in a state where he actually still is paranoid. He is. I'd like to roll an insight check on Shoulder, because Kenku talk in a very particular way, and if he chooses his words wrong,
Kenku,
it could give him away.
Talk in a very they mimic anything they hear.
Yeah, they mimic, and you have a limited selection of words, of which I
said 4 words.
Yeah, there's nothing suspicious about him, so even if you roll very high on an insight check, there's not really anything for you to get.
Well, there's also the fact that his that his thing doesn't fully convert. Like, you can notice flaws in it.
Yeah, but that wouldn't really be an insight per se. That would more be perception. Okay. And right now, there's it's fresh off the. Fresh out of the oven, so to speak. So.
Oh, it's fresh out of the oven.
He just used the spell, so it's not like it's wavering. You'd have to be trying to like physically make contact or see something. Like, there's nothing to perceive other than the fact that it's a man who seems to be a fighter, or at least capable of being a fighter. At the very least, he's a workman.
I'm fine.
He's
And
got
just,
equipment on him that would make it obvious that he's capable. He's some kind of combatant, since there's a crossbow, there's stuff like that.
Well, that's one thing. I could recognize the gear, but yeah.
Some of it's going to be
Jason
different
will
because
just,
of the clothing, but yeah.
Jason will just nod then and go back to his card game, clearly focused on crushing Benson.
Ah, all right. Let's see some rolls.
What check do I make for that?
I don't know how Mithridates did the card game. I think it's because he was proficient in the tools or whatever.
I would argue that poker would be a game of insight to see who's bluffing.
Well, what kind of poker are we playing?
I don't know. Texas Hold'em.
Trying to think of something that would be easy to do with dice.
I don't even know how to roll dice.
What do you mean? That's the game. That's a game. Got it.
It sounded like you knew how to roll dice against Shoulder's fucking illusion.
Yeah, that's true.
How about persuasion? To persuade the other person that you have better cards.
Wouldn't that just be deception?
That's a bluff, yeah, and it would have to be deception, but
deception I'll do. You want to roll deception? Dueling deceptions?
I think it could be insight. That's fine by me. Yeah, I would probably just say that. Let's see what the insight check is from between the. Oh, well, that's what we call a nat 20.
I don't think he can win.
Yeah, even if he gets a nat 20, he would have less of a roll. I think less of a bonus. Let's see the insight, Benson.
Okay.
That'll determine.
For every degree he loses, it's a silver.
No.
A degree being
5
points.
Hi, nat one.
Oh, the duality of man.
So I think how much money
gold am I
did he
winning?
That's all. Well, no, it depends on how much money.
We never even stated a buy-in.
Yeah. This is just like the practice round, dude.
I was gonna say,
this is the intro round. How much?
We didn't
how much?
establish bets.
Yeah. We should have done that before rolling the dice. A loaded question then, but how much would Benson and Jason want to buy in? Like, knowing that he's 4 silver in the hole, or 2 silver, was it 2 silver or 4 silver?
4.
But knowing that he's 4 silver in the hole, how much would Jason even put in to begin with?
Jason currently has one of those super valuable coins that's worth 10 gold, and then 5 copper.
You can't exactly pay the man.
Yeah, there's not a lot of buying in
Jason,
going on here.
during the game, Jason started betting in daggers.
Okay.
Hear me out. I'm
2
gonna
gold
roleplay
each.
this. All right, Jason. I challenge you to a game of 21. We both roll these two, or not roll. So basically, we roll 2d10 each, and we keep them hidden. And we're trying to hit 21, but not go over. And then we can either fold, and the pot stays the same, or we add more money to the pot, and we roll another d10.
Okay. Gambling, I see. This is going to be great when Augustius walks in and sees gambling as the first thing.
He's going to see a paladin gambling.
Paladin and a lout.
How do I keep rolls secret?
You can do a private roll by changing the drop down.
Yeah. So you do
Private
public
DM.
roll or private roll.
Okay. So just 2d10.
Yeah, and Benson will put 2 silver down.
Jason will match with a dagger.
Okay. And you guys are trying to hit 21?
Yeah, either 21 or less, but having the higher number at the end.
Okay, so there's no second round after this.
If we decide to bet again, then we roll another d10. But if you go over, you're out.
Right. So, are you guys going to bet again, or do you have to reveal the scores before you decide to bet again? Because the way that it works, as far as I know, in this game in real life, you keep deciding whether you draw or not. Right?
You can stand.
Okay, I misread it. You only keep the first die hidden, and then you reveal it at the end.
Okay, you see a 10 from Jason.
And you see a 5 from me.
Okay. Jason decides to stand.
Benson will bet again, putting down another 2 silver.
Okay, and then Benson rolls another d10, but does he keep it hidden?
It will be revealed.
Okay. So only one dice roll from the first round is hidden. Okay. We can do this. Ooh, okay. And Jason will stand again, or will he?
Yeah, Jason will just stand.
Okay.
Benson will bet again. 6 silver.
Ooh.
All right, Jason, are you ready to reveal?
Yeah, Jason reveals. He has 18.
Damn, I have 16. I slide the silver over to you.
That's 6 silver.
Jason smiles widely and says, "At this rate, I won't even need the raise."
Oh, no.
Just wait until round 2, brother.
All right, so 1d10 public, and Jason puts down one of the silver that he gambled with initial that he's gotten.
Mm-hmm. And then we need a 1d10 from Benson. And how much silver is he?
I have to show that. That was a 7. I forgot to put it to regular. That was
I can reveal
it. You said you put down 1 silver or 2?
1. We'll do it in ones.
Okay, Benson will also
change.
I'll match your 1 silver.
And then second dice. This one's hidden. Jason bets again 1 silver. And this one's public now.
Benson matches.
Jason again bets 1 more silver.
There's a lot of games.
Benson matches.
Oh my god. I have to keep track of this. This is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of rolls, isn't it?
Oh my god, Benson
stands.
Yeah, he has to. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, Jason
he's publicly rolled what, 12 plus 17? Or 12 plus 7, so he's got 19.
He's got 19 at least, so he would have had to roll a 1 or a 2.
Or he would have been out, yeah. So then what does Jason have? Let's see. He privately rolled that, and he publicly rolled a 7. And then he publicly rolled a 1 for 8, a 2 for 10, and a 5 for 15. So do you stand?
Oh, that puts me over.
No.
Huh?
If your private is I'm not going to reveal it, but it's if you scroll up, it's the one that's in blue. It should be in a bluer outline. I don't know what it looks like for you guys actually.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, you can choose to roll again and hope that you get a low number, or you can stand.
I'll stand.
All right, I revealed mine. It was a 2. I have 21.
Yeah, I had a feeling that was the only way that makes sense.
So how much silver was that in turn? You guys went 3 rounds each, right? So it's 4 silver. So he just won 4 silver off of you.
Yeah, so I'm back down to 2.
Well, he's almost got his money back. So Benson, do you have any remarks from your victorious betting, your degenerate gambling?
You shouldn't boast so much, Jason. That's how you lose your coin.
It's just a dry spell, lad.
But perhaps we should fix that, and Benson will raise a hand and order 2 more ales.
Oh my god.
Mithridates will
All right.
offer his own to Jason since he has barely touched it. And
Jason will drink it and has to roll a Constitution
yeah.
now.
Let's see it.
D10 difficulty. Barely passes.
Okay.
So he's not drunk, but
Not
the next one will be 11.
Yeah. All right, Alexander, get your game face on.
All right.
Because you are going to be stopped by the guard of this here establishment, who is going to look you over and say, "What business do you have here?"
Augustius will. He's got his hands like behind his back. He's like walking with his hands behind his back.
Yeah.
But his chin held high, and he looks up at the human, and scrunches his little blue snout up.
That's his only reaction. The guard was.
And,
oh, okay. Go
yeah,
for it.
that's it. That's it. Yeah, no, that's his whole reaction.
The guard gestures with a wide arm as if to block entry, though you recognize that you're small enough that you could just walk underneath it. And he says, "If you want into the tavern, I need to know your business. We've already had a few incidents."
He looks absolutely insulted by this. He gestures to the symbol of his god on his white tabard.
Yep.
And then is like, huh? The
guard takes a moment to look it over and then says, "You'll have to enlighten me."
He lets out a long sigh as if, oh, of course. These people.
I hate working with these people.
Exactly. He adjusts his little gold. He adjusts his little gold-trimmed monocle and clears his throat. And then he says, One second. Oh, shit. One moment. Sorry.
No worries.
One second.
He has got to pull up all his names.
I am Lord Adolphus Gustavus of the Silver Shore. I have come to do right in the name of my God. I hear that there are people.
I was really confused because that's not his name, and then I realized it was Shambler.
Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, fellas. Where was I? That's right. I was about to tell the guard who I am and why I'm here.
Wait, what'd you say?
I just got back. I'm sorry. I was I'm about to tell the guard who I am and why I'm here.
And do you want to keep some of that reveal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just say, I am a clericus Salius, wellspring of the seven-tailed, dragon god of justice and order. And you are impeding me, sir. And then he just walks under his arm. Just continues on into the tower.
I fucking knew it. I called it. I fucking knew it.
Well, the man will seem dumbstruck, but he will sort of just let you by as he's just perplexed.
With that same pomp air, he strolls into the tavern and sniffs twice. He's like, ugh.
Yeah, you'll see a band of likely candidates for what you were after here, as well as one human at the bar. The band of misfits is a good way to describe them. We've got a high elf looking smugly at the other two, and certainly entertained. We've got a paladin, at least that's what his garb identifies him as. Two humans there, one of them a paladin, and the other one certainly looking the part of a scoundrel. In fact, you reckon that must have been what you were smelling when you walked in. There's also a hound.
He approaches because he doesn't want to get near the stinky man or the hound. So he approaches Benson, and I assume he's going to see like the symbol of
Lathandar on the
Lathandar, and know immediately who he is. And very small, only like 3 feet and some inches tall. He approaches from behind and clears his throat. Ha-hum!
Jason scowls, and he says very audibly, "Did Shoulder find a fucking another one?"
Benson will...
Augustius will ignore the disgusting riffraff.
Got him.
Benson will glance back at you with a slightly raised eyebrow, but smirk and say, welcome, brother. You've arrived just in time for cards.
He will make a face and lift up a very well manicured but still sharp claw. No, sir, I do not participate in such activities. You must be the Paladin of Lathandar, Benson, son of Ben.
Well, indeed, that is me. I am flattered that you've heard my name.
Yes, the captain of the guard has told me a little about your fellows, this group of yours. Very eclectic lot. He's gonna eye the elf, but and he's like, he studies him for a moment, and he's just like something is off about him. He doesn't know what, but he can't quite place it, and then he turns his attention back to Benson.
We are indeed diverse in origin, but united in success.
Yes, I have heard of this. In fact, I came from my mountain monastery on behalf of this backwater, if you will, and heard immediately that, the matter that I had been called for had been resolved. Congratulations.
And what exactly were you called for?
Well, for the matter that you have resolved. The bandits, the brigands, the lawless degenerates.
Oh, and the demons and the axe-beaks and the skeletons?
I beg your pardon?
Well, indeed, we found all sorts of ilk out there in the forest.
More than just smooth-skinned bandits. Well, then. Even more congratulations are in order. I do suppose you have done the work of Salius, wellspring of the Seven Tails.
Do I know who
Jason
that
will
is?
pop up as the...
You can both make
asshole.
religion checks to figure that out.
Jason will pop up as the asshole states that he actually doesn't fucking know what he's talking about. And he'll say, "Alright, laddie. You're saying you come on behalf of the fucking captain, and yet he didn't even share the most minimal details of our report? What's your angle?"
Can I roll a perception check to hear this?
You can hear it all pretty clearly from where you are, since it's such a quiet tavern. But it, yeah, if you feel like rolling a perception check for the more fine-tune aspects of it, I can just write some stuff in your thread or whatever. Also, I don't know how long your disguise lasts for, because it doesn't say in the description.
It's an hour.
Okay. You're good then.
Augustius makes a slight grimace in the direction of Jason and says, speaking of that matter, The captain of the guard does wish for me to thank you on his behalf for a job well done. My angle, as you so put it, is, of course, to remove any further blight, any further lawbreakers and evildoers from this land. And, by the captain's words, there does seem to be more of that about.
Aye, so you're the hired help. We did put a request in for some extra arms to deal with the summoning circle. I was wondering when the captain would finally address that.
Yes, I am the, quote, hired help. And then he'll turn back to Benson. Tell me, does he know hygiene, bathing, or is he far too uncouth and uncivilized and stupid for such a simple matter?
Is Benson thoroughly aware of your fear of water, or has it just been a kind of a joke?
Jason stands up and not
wait.
shouts,
You gotta wait for Benson.
Raising his voice.
And answer what Benson said, and wait for his response too. You can definitely have your moment of reprisal, but let's see what Benson said. So Benson asked if he thoroughly knows about your fear of water.
He would have known. Jason never said it out loud, but there was that whole scene where it's like when I turned into the squid at first and said I was cursed and all this other stuff. So I guess it's just how good he is at putting the pieces together that Jason is not. Tends to get a bit tense around. Liquid.
At the very least, there's an aversion to it. Yeah.
In Jurgle's realm, I also just started screaming and running into the bushes for some reason. It happened
as soon as it was raining. Yeah, that was never
so
really.
I'd say roll an intelligence check.
Yeah. And the baseline knowledge that Benson would have is that Jason is very much not a fan of it. You can put the pieces together. I think that's enough. That it's been obvious enough that he's got some bad history with water at the very least.
Well, he certainly doesn't drink it.
At this point, I can smell the alcohol from here.
If you have a problem with me, Scaly, you can say it to my face instead of to the captain.
The stench is much stronger as Jason approaches.
Yeah.
Wait. To add to it, Jason is leaning over him, really highlighting, getting uncomfortably close now.
Wait, hold on. There is another point here that I keep forgetting. I don't think kobolds have a sense of smell that's very strong. I'm not saying you can't, but that would be something that anybody with familiarity with kobolds would be very surprised by. And, you could just write it off as Jason smelling bad enough that even kobolds smell him, but that's a pretty tall thing to clear. So maybe it's like Augustius has developed a sense of smell. I want to say
palate. He literally has a refined palate sense of smell.
Or he's just being a dick.
Yeah, that's also true.
I mean, it can be both of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so Augustius scrunches his scaly snout up and keeps a very straight face as he looks up at Jason, meeting his scowl and his gaze. Very well, then. You, sir, are a filthy, haggard, ugly, absolutely repugnant ruffian.
I'm trying to think of what that voice sounds like.
Jason punches him immediately.
He legit now wanted the wisdom ability check.
He looks at Benson and says, "Well, if he's being honest," and then just immediately just knuckle dusters him.
So let's have a Benson reaction moment. Benson, do you have a reaction to try to calm the storm? Because you're seeing every insult land onto Jason's face, and you can already predict his arm rising. So what is Benson's reaction in this moment?
Benson will, seeing this is escalating very quickly. Benson will try to get between them before the punch is thrown, and he'll just say, "Calm down, brothers. We shouldn't jump to such conclusions about one another."
I will say that as Augustius is just laying into Jason, Not Shoulder has turned around to look at the commotion and is trying very hard to hide a smile.
I don't think anybody's paying too close attention, but if they are, it'll be plainly obvious. All right, so we have this disputed. I think we'll pretend that this is like a grapple, because it kind of is. It's a partial grapple. It's just like stopping your arm. So let's see the athletics for how close Augustius's face gets to being punched. Okay, that's a tough one.
Oh boy.
Okay,
He gets punched. He gets punched.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like the hand stops right in front of his head because we've got Benson here to like hold him back, but that with those checks that's looking a little bit difficult. So Augustius, given the minimal assistance provided by Benson's attempt, do you want to make a roll to see if you can duck out of the way, or are you just going to take that square in the face?
You know what? He's going to take it square in the face.
All right. Well, that's 1 damage.
Okay, 1 damage.
Absolutely smacked. Gobsmacked.
Yeah, it's like a backhand.
Oh yeah, if it's a smack, it's even better. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the smack wouldn't be damage. So is it meant to insult the honor more than that, or is it meant to actually inflict pain? That's the question. Because it's more of like a.
It's to inflict pain.
Okay, all right.
It
So
could be
one
it could be 1 plus his strength.
Strength mod.
So 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, with a roll like that, it's hard to argue. Okay, 2 damage. All right. So, Augustius, you have just been lambasted by this ruffian's fist, as if to prove your point. The fist strikes you square in the head.
Yes, it absolutely does prove his point, which is why he was willing to take it in the first place. He's a very principled kobold, let me tell you.
You'll see. If anybody who's paying any attention to Mitridites will see him raise an eyebrow and maybe tense up a little bit, just in case there's some kind of reaction. But hasn't done anything, hasn't made any move yet.
Augustius, he takes it and rubs his struck cheek, and then looks up at Benson.
I tried.
Yes, you did. You do know that I can, see that severe punishment is done. However, I will refrain from doing so out of compassion and mercy, because I understand that he can't control himself. He has no discipline, no sense of self-control.
Brother, you are the one who came in here shouting insults.
You scaly pig. I was having a nice time drinking with my friends here, celebrating doing good, putting bandits in the ground. Fucking 20 men I've killed, and here you come striding in like you're hot shit. You ought to be fucking groveling before me, you little prick.
He just snorts. He just snorts and waves a dismissive hand, and then proceeds to completely ignore him, as if he just stopped existing, and looked up at Benson. There is much more important matters to discuss. Which is, of course, what else is out there? If there be demon and the walking dead, well, there's bound to be much worse than that. Where you find one, you find many.
Well, we do have a meeting with the guard captain tomorrow Perhaps if he were to join us, we could get the full brief on what other threats are in this region.
Very well, then. I suppose I'll see you lot tomorrow. And hopefully, that one will have babe.
Jason says,
One more word about how I smell. You won't wake in the morning. You understand me?
and he's deadly serious.
Kobold just raises a scaly eye ridge at him. And then
Jason is staring you down. He matches it. There's a clarity in his eyes now that wasn't there before.
Why, I declare, I think you're sober.
It better make you worried.
Jason says as he leans down to really look at him, at the smaller creature.
I suppose, if you're this bad drunk, I'd hate to see what you're like normally. And then he just like whirls around and strolls out. He just leaves. And as he passes the guard, he lifts up a hand. Good day, sir.
The guard will be visibly confused, as he had watched the tail end of that ever since the punch landed, but had not intervened.
Jason is still only tipsy.
He's only tipsy.
Okay. I finally figured out who you sound like, Alex.
Who?
You sound like the rooster from Looney Tunes.
Oh, Foghorn Leghorn.
No, I say.
I say, boy, I say, you can't be doing that.
That's a good one.
You can't be going smelling like this, boy.
Get yourself
representation of who you are, man.
Get yourself a bath. Heaven have mercy.
I like that.
Oh yeah, no one's. By the way, no one still knows his name. You just know he's.
Yep.
No, he didn't introduce us, so he just
Shows up, insults everyone, takes a punch to the face.
He just insulted you.
Insults everyone, leaves.
Yeah.
Refuses to elaborate.
Refuses to elaborate. I'll be joining you fellas tomorrow. Bye. I love this character already. He's great.
As Jason moves to sit down again, drinking his much harder liquor now, he says to Benson,
I thought we were done working with pricks.
And it seems one has managed to find us, brother.
I can't wait to start yelling orders at everybody in combat. It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
The real question is, why the fuck did it come in the form of a cleric?
of what's the name again?
Salius. Like
Salient.
salient.
Cleric Salus out here?
Oh yeah, did I learn
Yeah, I
anything
wrote
from
out a
that?
description for that. So basically, everybody, based on their role, will know that Salius is a dragon man, that a god in the form of a dragon man. Not a draconin. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but you can kind of compare it to that. Who demands justice for those who have had ill fate befall them through no fault of their own. And Jason and Mithridates, based on the fact that they both nat 20'd, will additionally know that Augustius, whose name you don't know, but that person is an oddly pompous representative of such a god.
Yes.
There you go. So basically,
But
only
very-
Jason
but very
of the
devout.
two players that are here right now that are kept piloting those characters that made the religion checks. Only Jason knows, between Jason and Benson, that guy is not a normal representative of Salius.
Yeah, and I just pointed that out.
Yeah, like, why is he...
What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an odd pairing of thing, you know? But, like, there's nothing about him that seemed like he wasn't. Like, his personality doesn't seem to fit. But all his bearings, his vestments, his tabard, etc., they all screamed Salius. So,
Yeah.
it seems like he is that, for sure.
Yeah. And he believes, very much so.
At least he, in belief, stands for something good. Perhaps his frustration with you was that he believed you could be clean and wanted to be angry with you for not being so.
Wisdom! Give that man give him an extra wisdom plus. Give him an extra score.
Jason scowls and says, "A hygiene is none of his concern."
It is literally, it's just, you stink.
Those bloody things can't even smell right. He was just picking a fight.
And to think he didn't even want to play a game of cards.
As I said, what a bloody prick. And Jason takes a swig before looking at the cards and says, "Oh, I can't use that because we're paused." Wait, no use of...
We're not paused.
What? I have multiple bottles, but it says I'm out of charges. Okay.
Oh yeah, you have 5.
Minus 1 bottle, and then
I'll have to refill your stuff.
10 charges per bottle.
Yeah.
Okay, so he takes a swig. I'm just gonna roll that ahead of time while we're waiting on that. Jason is drunk, and he says bitterly, "As much fun as it was, Captain, I'm afraid my mood's rather sour. I'm gonna go to bed now, if that's okay with you."
Are you sure you don't want to go for one last round?
Jason just shakes his head, says, "I'd rather stay in the hole," and wanders off.
What a shame. I was going to bet this gold. And he takes out a gold coin.
Jason's too far by then. He just
I can't even get golded.
He's depressed now. He's gonna go up there.
He's too smelly. He's too stinky.
What a shame. And I'll put the gold away.
Absolutely booty blasted by a kobold.
Mithridates comes around and says that he'll take you up on the offer. And you recall the smug sense of satisfaction that he had beating Jason in cards earlier.
Smart man. Cheers to that, Mithridates. And Benson will go to take a swig at the same time as Mithridates.
Mithridates cautiously begins to sip, but you don't see... You recognize that he's probably going to be a bit more tender about nursing his drink.
Well, taking the opportunity, Benson will try to pull a card from the deck and pass it down to Brother.
Ooh.
Dog gambling?
Card counting? So, sleight of handed, I think. Against his passive perception, probably.
Oh.
Let's see.
Excuse me.
Mithridates says nothing and continues slowly sipping his ale.
Benson then shuffles the deck and distributes the cards.
Okay. For this, will allow you basically to, if you get a roll you don't want, we'll let you re-roll it. That's how I think we can simulate the lack of one card, right? Like you could say that's the card that you got rid of, basically.
Yeah, I'll just say I didn't look at the card I pulled out. I just passed Brother a random card.
Yeah. And this is a D10.
That's a 1.
Mithridates will he's bought in with his own gold, right? And he puts down one piece of silver next to it, indicating he'll go again as he produces his 6.
Do you want me to go ahead and privately roll the extra card?
Well, no. What I was thinking is you would decide to whatever card you want to. If you want to re-roll one of the rolls you've already got, you could do that. But
Okay,
the idea is
I
you
hear
get a
you.
reroll. So if you get a card that you don't like, you can choose to roll it again.
Okay.
Because
Benson,
the idea is that the card that you're re-rolling is the card that's not in the deck anymore. Is sort of what we're going for.
okay, Benson will match and roll again.
Okay. Frowning a little bit, Mithridates will stand and no longer bet.
Benson will raise one more time.
So let's count up what you've got. Publicly, you've rolled 8. Okay. So are you gonna re-roll anything, or are you gonna bet again? Mithridates is standing.
Oh man. How much is on the table?
1 gold, 1 silver for Mithridates, and 1 gold, 2 silver from you.
Okay. Benson is going to raise. And then re-roll that.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, keeping the re-roll.
Okay, so you will delete the other one. So now you've got 8, 2 is 10, 1 is 11. Okay. You reveal first, or does Mithridates?
I'll reveal. It's a 10.
So it's a 10, which brings your total to 21. Mithridates with 6 and 8 has 14 publicly. And he reveals a 7 for also 21.
Oh, it's a tie.
And Mithridates says, "Do you know the tiebreaker rules?"
Actually, I
with
forgot.
a knowing grin on his face, a knowing smirk.
I would assume since we're playing without a dealer, we'll just take our bets back and play again.
We could. Mithridates reaches for another card, or we could just roll and see whose card is the lower value. Closer to 21 wins.
I'll take you up on it.
He produces a card, but he doesn't show it yet, indicating that you should also. All right, and then with a little bit of a wince, he'll reveal a 7.
Oh, shit.
Eyes wide, he reaches for another card.
Damn.
Degenerate fucks.
No, dude. I'm
With
just
a
here
sigh,
twiddling my
he
thumbs.
reveals what he pulled, and then
Ah.
concedes to you, pushing over his gold and silver.
That was exciting.
It took extra
I
rounds.
can't believe you just gave away Mithridates' money.
He doesn't have that much. I probably
Yeah,
shouldn't.
that's why I
Well,
can't
we all
believe you
have
gave it away.
shares. We all have shares of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
crown gold that's on the caravan.
It's true. I feel like that's a Mithridates thing to do, though. When he
I
sees
just think it's
that
funny.
somebody else is like sad and ignoring somebody, he's like, "I'll do it." You know, he kind of jumps in those kinds of social situations. So.
Yeah.
All right, another round on me. Drinks, I mean.
What time it is? Has it been? Like, how long has it been since
It's
I got
probably
here?
only been like 20 minutes, but you're not seeing any sign in the garden with Jason leaving, or you're expecting that perhaps the meeting has been rescheduled.
Can I see the clock tower that I was supposed to meet them at from here?
Through one of the windows, yeah. It is off in the distance. Though you can see the top of it, you can't see like the floor, like where
Yeah,
it is.
like
It's
if
kind of
I step
obscured by the
outside?
fountain. Yeah, if you step outside, you'll be able to see that there's at least one guard there.
If you're looking to make poison, you could steal it from a sleeping Jason, make it, and then poison the captain while he's having our conversation here by slipping into his food.
So if I go outside, I can see that there is a guard waiting at the clock tower.
Yeah, you would see that there is a guard there.
Is there usually a guard there?
You can't recall if there was one there already. No, I'm just kidding. There was a guard like kind of patrolling, making the rounds, but this one is stationary. No. While you plan your next move,
to steal poison or to leave.
Yeah, I will use the restroom. So think about what you're gonna do.
How easy would it be to steal from a degenerate drinker gambler who is also asleep?
Probably damn easy.
Well, Jason has night terrors, so.
Yeah, that's even assuming I know where the poisoner's kit is on him.
Well, you know I have poison. You also know I have an. Well, you would also probably be in with my herbalism kit because I also have that. So all you need is there. You're welcome to try. I'd say that since I'm very drunk, well, since I'm well into drunkenhood, that while my perception is high, I'd probably have disadvantage. Though. Because that plan does keep the party together and makes it easier to manage, is what I would say.
I was going to grab the bottle of mead and follow up on the spider thing, but I cannot do that in the interest of keeping people together.
Yeah, I got like another 2 hours, maybe 2:15.
Because I do want to get to the meeting with the guard captain. I also don't want to keep Alex waiting.
I had so much fun with that interaction.
That was pretty funny. You know, you also reminded me of Edmund Duke.
Oh, yeah.
Marshal Rainer.
Now, throw down them weapons.
Yes.
Yes. Which is something he totally is going to say.
Throw down them weapons.
That's right.
What if I just bomb the
Gotta make it where like Southern and Draconin are a thing.
Well, please don't, because then I'd have to hear you say it, and I don't want to hear you do a Southern accent. I just don't.
Hey, it's either that or you'll get me, Holmes.
No, you don't have to do any of that shit. Like you don't. Like you generally don't.
But it helps me get into a character essay.
No, you don't. Like you could just talk normally, like most people do.
The next party is just going to be all MS-13 members.
Now, I asked you nice the first time, boy. I didn't come here to talk with you. Now, throw down them weapons.
You could hear a pretty convincing Duke impression.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Protoss Commander, this is General Edmund Duke of the Terran Dominion Armada. You are in violation of our airspace and have endangered human lives in your reckless attack against the Zerg. I order you to withdraw your ships immediately. If you fail to comply, I will not hesitate to open fire upon your vessels. There you go. See? That's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm convinced.
Yeah. I'm Kobold Edmund Duke.
So my problem, right, is that
for the king.
If I do want to absolutely annihilate, like, just because of like the way the game works, like, there's no real assassination that's possible in game unless you're literally a rogue. Like, this isn't going to end in one turn. You know what I mean?
Well, that's why Pro has it where the poison that you concoct happens to be a special poison that kills him long after. It probably isn't that hard to steal from a drunk Jason who has his guard kind of down. Like Jason at the start of this adventure, I'd say he rolls perception normally. Just because he's so paranoid with Umberly. Like, he still has the night terrors and all that, but he's reached an understanding with Umberly, which has made her more of something to work with or against rather than this unknowable thing. So he's a bit more stable.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna ask him for some kind of check to see what poisons I know of, and then that will be my decision, because obviously I've never had to ask these questions.
I do remember that when we first got the poison that you identified it as particularly deadly, the seeds.
Yeah.
And you had this whole thing about it, so we have some potent poison here. Now, whether or not
I remember that. That's what I mean. I don't know. I don't know if he would know how to make it, so I'll have to ask for a roll with that.
You have proficiency in herbalism?
That should be nature.
Oh, there's actually a herbalism thing where you make the poison stuff like that.
No. I don't have anything like that. I have a +2 to medicine. This is just the opposite of medicine.
Oh, apparently I can make antitoxin. This. You could also try and trick Jason into making the poison for you and just not tell him why, but that's a lot riskier. That's probably like if you
that just brings in unnecessary risk to it, because at that point, he was never planning to poison the guy anyway, so he would rather just try and make shit shake than try and introduce you to the plan, whether you're knowing or not, obviously.
That's assuming. Are you actually you're sold on killing this guy after everything?
He's not convinced. He's just like Fizz. He probably was, and then Fizz was like, "Hey, this chick's fucking crazy and is a goat and came out of a snake, and you're kind of being stupid right now." So he's not. He's moving. He's going through the motions, and he's kind of very unwisdom-like of him. Is just gonna try and figure shit out as he goes along, basically.
Maybe he wants to see how the
because of what Fizz said, he decided to make the note about the goat and the snake. He would have just made it based off of something else that would have been equally as important, but nothing to do with what he saw. So he's essentially going to gauge how he feels about the goat lady and the snake and all that shit, and see how much he knows and whatnot, and then he'll make the decision based off of actually interacting with it. Whereas before, he might have just straight up lied and fucking just went to kill him anyway. So Fizz was pretty integral to slowing Shoulder down.
Yeah.
All right. My plan starts and is going to be partially made off of asking for some kind of check of what kind of lethal poisons that Shoulder knows about.
All right, that'll be nature.
in the vein of like killing someone long after, not long after, but you know, a good amount of time after the poison is ingested.
Some hours or what?
It could be hours. It just as many poisons as possible in the vein of like I want to know what poisons he would know that like how many he would know that would kill someone basically instantly and would kill someone like an hour away, and like the range in between that. So like instantly 30 minutes or an hour. Based off of a roll of 13.
Well, there's like one poison, excuse me, for each time frame that would fit that bill, that you are aware of. However, the ingredients for the instant one are a little bit harder to come by, as once the plant that produces such a powerful toxin is harvested, the toxin immediately starts to lose potency. So you're not really going to be able to do much there. However, you will also remember that Fred said that he accidentally killed somebody by peeing on them. So perhaps he is the toxin that you need.
Oh shit! I don't even need a poisoner's kit.
Well, you would want one to assemble a poison, regardless of the source.
That's true. All right, and then I remember that Jason has one because I was with Jason and Benson when they found it and the floorboards of that place.
You were busy climbing the walls with the flying boots, but yeah.
Didn't I ask for a seed?
Yeah.
I was told that it was very.
Benson found it, and Jason told you, "Hey, watch out for that. That's lethal, or potentially dangerous, or whatever."
Obviously, one seed is not enough to make a.
I think he asked for it back or something, or like cautioned you against having it. I can't remember if you kept it. But yeah, one is.
I took it off this person.
Yeah, apparently Jason
I
has
have
all
the
of it.
poison ingredients.
Yeah, and the kit too, or no? I can't remember if there was.
Yeah, I have the
but I remember asking you for a seed. We were asking if I gave you the poison seed back because you told me that it was vaguely poisonous, and we don't remember if I gave it back or not.
I think
because I remember being an idiot bird and being like, "Give me a seed." But we'll go with that. I gave it back. I think that's fine.
Indeed.
All right. With that, he will follow Jason.
Okay. You'll be heading upstairs.
Yes.
So the two of you are, well, obviously Jason's passed out at this point. So it's pretty easy to figure out which room it is, because all you need to do is roll a perception check, and you will smell him.
I can't see anything.
Hit C. You're not. There's no upper floor. I have the upper floor, but I haven't set it up in front.
Oh, okay.
It's a familiar hall. You remember this hall because you were here once. Oh yeah, you'd fucking smell that guy from a mile away. Which I guess isn't that normal. You smell that guy from 3 miles away.
All right. What are the odds his door is locked? Honestly, that's not even true. What are the odds his door is closed? Did this guy remember to close his door?
The door is closed but unlocked.
All right. Quietly opening the door. He is going to.
They're so lucky that was disadvantaged.
Not necessarily. Yeah, I know, right? He's not necessarily looking for Jason himself. He's keeping eyes for the herbalism and poison kit. Figuring if he finds the herbalism kit, one will lead to the other.
I think there's only a herbalism kit, right?
Well, Jason has the poison, but
yeah.
Would he keep in the herbalism kit? I guess, yeah, why not?
I thought you had one because you're a druid.
Part of the herbalism kit. So I'm gonna roll a wisdom, and we'll say this is Jason remembering to take all his gear off before he goes to bed or not. So you want this to be high. It's gonna be disadvantaged because drunk.
Oh yeah, that's fine, buddy.
So in his drunken stupor, Jason has conveniently taken off most of his gear. His backpack's there. His many swords and daggers are put on their bandoliers and such to the side, and he's actually asleep on the bed, snoring.
Dude, if Shoulder liked you, he would totally give you a high five right now because you are stupidly locked in.
However,
that's a no.
He is in the middle of a night terror. And so you just suddenly hear a no as he flails up with his arms, only to fall back down.
All right. I'm going to ask if I have to use I'm trying to avoid like rolling the damage roll for this. If we have to use a spell slot for it, that's fine. If he is in the middle of a night terror, is it possible that I could use my sleep spell to try and like ease it? Like I'm not trying to knock him completely unconscious, just like to ease the terrors.
Yeah, I think that would be possible. And there will be if that is the choice you make, I think Jason would have the most serene sleep of his adult life.
Yeah, you interrupt the dream for 1 minute and then it just doesn't reoccur because the brain has soothed itself.
Yeah. All right, so before I do that,
you'll need the spell slot, of course, because that is
yeah. But his kit is in his backpack, so realistically, so I spotted his backpack.
Yep.
All right. Muted. Yeah. With his muted strings, he's gonna play a few notes, and that will help Jason sleep. Do you want me to roll the damage roll? Is that necessary?
No, you don't need to roll that.
All right.
Come on, maybe he gets 4 1s, and then it's like you try putting him to sleep, but it does nothing.
I forgot he has a decent amount of health.
Yeah, that's why I said that maybe I don't have to roll, because it's not like I'm trying to like. He's already asleep, you know. I'm just trying to.
Well, you can roll the damage, and we'll just say you need at least half of his health, which is like the equivalent of advantage. Hey, that works.
Oh, but just barely.
Yeah.
All right.
1 more 1, and that would
soothing him. He's going to go open the backpack and look for the kits.
Yeah.
Or the kit.
If you want to roll sleight of hand just to see how fast you're able to rifle through everything, that will just determine. Yeah. Okay. You're able to find that sucker pretty fast, and conveniently adorning the kit itself is. The sack that you recognize as being full of the poisoning ingredients.
All right, I'm gonna take the poisoner's kit. So we said it's just 1 kit of herbalism and poison like combined, or is it 2 separate?
It's gonna be an herbalism kit, but I'm gonna since tools are so rarely used, I'm just gonna allow you to use both, like one for either, since they're still using the same initial.
I was just wondering if I could take only the poisoner's kit and leave the.
No, it's 1 kit. It's
1 kit. All right, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will close the backpack and I will walk out the door.
Yeah. Will you close the door?
I will indeed close the door very quietly.
Yeah. Well, it's a lot quieter now that Jason isn't screaming. So.
Yes. All right. Okay. Now, I didn't think I'd get this far. All right. He will walk back down the stairs, and then he will. I'm trying to think of a spot where he can make it. Or like even like look through it.
So wait. Can you say
the kit's going in his backpack?
Yeah. So that's fine. And then where are you going from here? Are you descending down the stairs?
He's descending down the stairs and out of the tavern.
Okay. And then, so Benson, Mithridates, and Brother are sort of reeling from that card game and The barkeep has come over and presented you with the bottle of mead that you had requested and apologized for the delay, explaining that he had to find the one of the last crates in there. And then says that he'll be closing up shop soon, so it'll be time to retire upstairs or out of the tavern, depending on where you're staying.
Fair enough. Well, how much for 2 rooms?
Rooms are a silver apiece.
All right, I will give him 1 for myself and Metroides.
Ah. So 2 silver total?
Yeah.
Okay. He'll give you a nod, give Metroides a nod, give brother a weird look, and then he'll return to behind his bar and then come back producing 2 keys. They're made of copper or bronze, and they're quite worn, but they should still work. And he hands one to each of you and says, "Thank you for your patronage," and collects any unused mugs and returns back to continue his work.
All right. With that, Benson will say goodnight to Metroides and make his way up to the room to go through the things he had purchased and get ready for the next day.
Alrighty. And Metroides will also go bid you adieu and go to his room as well. Okay, so there's no so at this point you guys are all basically deciding to make your way to, like, tomorrow morning is going to be where you all meet, including with that ornery, pompous kobold. And we'll say that he probably, I'm guessing Augustius would have returned to the keep. What do you think, Alexander?
Yes, absolutely. I'm not staying out here with these people.
That's right. Okay, so you would have returned there to enjoy the grand rooms, of course. And all right, so Shoulder is the only one who is actually intending on moving towards the clock tower, presumably, where we'll go ahead and copy that guard and have him over here.
Yeah, so he's going to go through the alleyways, like a long way around, essentially, while he tries to examine the herbalism kit and think of ways to concoct a poison that would last long enough for... I guess his problem right now is trying to figure out a way to give the captain the poison.
Yeah.
And he's of these many alleyways. He's actually going to cast Speak with Animals, which if I can find it, that'd be great. I'll find it eventually. Don't worry.
Yeah.
He'll cast Speak with Animals, and not necessarily panicked, but a little panicked. He will say, a little adrenaline rushy.
Uh-huh.
He will say, Fred, if I make a poison and feed it to you, can you make someone poisoned?
You'll hear a and then is the poison dead?
That's it. That's like this philosophical question. All right, he's going to talk to Fred, and he's going to say, well, I don't know. If I ground up all these leaves into whatever it would be ground up, a paste, would it Would they die in the process?
Fred will say, if the leaves were plucked, they're probably dead.
Shoulder's going to feel stupid as he looks at his herbalism kit of many dead leaves.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to say, oh, they're dead.
Then I can eat it. He seems confident.
Well, yes, Fred. It's good that you can eat it, but can you somehow transfer that onto someone?
He's going to say, well, I can give it back to them the same way I gave back that human body.
He's implying regurgitating it into its mouth.
Well, onto it, yeah.
Would I know of a poison that just needs to like touch someone's skin to kill it?
It would have to be administered in quite a high dose to be soaked up to
Yeah.
lethal points through the skin. So it would probably be one of those things where the best thing that you can go for is I feel like it's one of those things.
I'm trying to say it without being an idiot.
Yeah.
Is there some way I can feed him a poison that will make his pee more toxic? I'm just gonna cut out the middle, man.
Well, good, because I didn't get that impression at all.
That's okay. Yeah, I know. I didn't say it very well either.
I'm gonna say that Fred won't know the answer to that because he thinks his pee is already toxic enough. He's already super toxic. He's worried that if he ever pees on anybody accidentally again, they will die.
Hasn't he already accidentally peed on him?
Yeah, that's why he's worried about that. Wait, what? Accidentally peed on what?
Me.
No, I think he did it on your armor. Not on
it
your
was
skin.
my armor,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is the poison that only needs to make contact, according to what he said. You haven't verified that, obviously, but.
All right. So it's either I trust a frog, or I make a poison and try and slip it on the guard.
Through a different vector than a frog.
They're a different vector than a frog.
Crush up the herbs, mix it with the frog piss, and bake it into a pie for him to eat.
Shoulder doesn't know how to cook.
Shoulder does know
Crush it
a
up
lady.
and pour it into his drink.
Shoulder knows a lady who cooks pies.
This is true. That takes longer than just this night, and he doesn't want this to go much longer because there's going to be more variables.
Shoulder knows what a variable is?
Not that word, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. All right. He carries a water bottle, yeah? Like some kind of...
A water skin.
Water pouch, yeah. All right. He's going to make some kind of poison that acts within like 30 minutes, if he can, of it being ingested. And he's going to combine it with the water.
All right. Let's go to... see here. It looks like this is just a straight D20. Let's see. Oh no, you're gonna do a nature check for crafting it.
Can I guidance that?
Yeah.
Spirits help me. I needed it.
Holy shit, you needed it. As you as you concoct your potion, you are initially just trying to let your instincts guide you as best you can, but
I'm so sorry. Could I be right back?
Yeah.
Like 5 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sure. It's gonna be a moment. Well, you know what that means, lads.
What?
We know what Jason is doing in the interim, but the other I think from here there should probably be like, because we're getting pretty close to that point where after everybody sleeps, it'll be time for the big parade and event and stuff in town in the morning, like 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever, according to what Ulrich and Arkin had said. And then there's also like figuring out what everybody is going to do after that's over, or even what they're going to do while that's happening, because that's its own thing. So yeah, it's kind of interesting because we know that Benson just wants to finish off his shopping, and Jason, wanted to see the execution of criminals. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see basically what everybody's action is going to be. It's not quite a downtime action, but like what their choices are going to be when they're supposed to be being like rewarded for their heroism and bravery and sacrifice. And then, general things that are potentially going to occur based on that. Yeah.
Well, I guess while we're waiting for him to come back, would you want to quickly confirm what parts of my list I was able to get?
Sure. Let me take a look at the thread. All right. So we'll say that the rumbling shield was able to be identified. However, the other two items you provided were less so. They were a bit more complicated for the wizard that was available at the time, and he mentioned that you should come back later in the morning for. He'll see if he can. He'll leave a note for the headmaster, basically, of the college, to come back for that. You said you were going to sell. I assume you're going to want to hold on to the crystal until you know.
Yeah, until I know for sure.
Okay. So, I actually don't know how to make this item. Oh wait, here it is. Yeah. So I've identified the rumbling shield for you, so you can take a look at it in more element. I feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't think the beat of force was supposed to be 960 gold. That doesn't sound right.
Well, I mean,
I know you're going to be happy.
I wouldn't complain.
With haggling and all that, finding a buyer.
I know,
yeah.
yeah.
Best he gets.
I don't think you'd be able to get the market value for that, even if that was the legit price, which I feel like there's no way it can be. I'll come back to that one later. The Alchemist's Fire. That was... that's worth a pretty penny. We can say that you were able to find someone interested in that, but they initially offered you, they really tried to undersell you. They looked like more of a foreign trader, so they maybe they didn't know of who you were or whatever, but they were like, oh, this guy's carrying around that, and so anyway, they offered you 10 gold for it. You can go for history we'll use like a history check for your general understanding of the gold value, but you can, good business sense is to always haggle up anyway. So if you want to roll like a persuasion check or something, what do you think for haggling?
A history to see if I know anything about what it should be worth, and then a persuasion to take it up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So let's see the history first. All right, you're going to be aware that Alchemist's Fire is like, what it is. You know that it's
Ooh.
That is a very solid roll for sure. You're not able to place the exact gold value on it, but you're sure it's worth more than 10. And the basically, you know that it can set things afire. You can set things alight. So it's like a portable flammable liquid of some kind. And so, yeah, you're gonna say, yeah, we're gonna say that you were able to knock the price up by what's your wager? Like, what are you saying when you see, because you're gonna ask him for more, right?
With a natural 20, can I try to get at least half of what it's worth? So 25.
Right. I think that's a valid thing, and like the way that you speak is like he's almost realizes he's been had, and he's like, oh shit, what this item is like then, or whatever. Like enough about it that he can't really bulldoze over you, and so he will offer you 25 gold.
All right, I'll take it.
Oops, 41. Yeah, there you go. I think I've added that correctly, so I'll take it out of your inventory. All right. So the purchases for everything there is, let's see. So it looks like that will be, we've got 1 gold plus 5.5. Okay, and then we're just gonna say like 2. And check mark, check Todd. All right, I think you're able to get the rope, the rations, the campfire meal stuff, the campfire dinner stuff thing. So those things can get picked off the list. The other stuff was harder for you to come by. The stuff that the parchment and ink and the collar. So we're gonna say that that's 8.5 gold, 8 gold, 5 silver, for the prices of what you did get. Fetching new horses is gonna be like between 8 and 10 gold a piece. But the stable was closed. The stable would be outside the gate anyway, so you can go and visit them in the morning. The for the healing potions, yeah, you'll be able to grab those in the morning as well from the like apothecary, which is part of the college. And the Temple of Lothandar the scrolls, that'll be easy to grab too tomorrow. So that's where you're all at. The armor for you could speak to the armorer about a special job. That would be probably the best option there for you.
Okay, I made a note for that stuff.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
All right, sweet.
Now we just wait for more hell yeah. Or...
What time do we go to bed?
It was 10:30 when Jason left, so like 10:30.
I probably hung out with Nitro Daddies for another like 30 minutes.
Yeah, maybe just making small talk and enjoying the ambiance, and then 11 o'clock would make sense for when the guy mentioned that he's going to be shutting down the ground floor. Right.
So
did Alexander do anything when you went to bed?
I don't know what you said, Shambler.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if Benson gets a long rest, he should theoretically have just enough time to make those trips before the meeting, and then maybe spend like 30, 45 minutes training Brother.
Yeah, there you go. Should work just fine. The meeting with the guard captain was supposed to be like a tonight thing, and then he kind of used Augustius for that. It's like, yeah, just give them my thanks. Like it was clear to Augustius that he didn't want to speak with the rest of the party. Though Augustius obviously didn't share that information with him. But
so it's just gonna roll up anyway. It is gonna be like, the hell.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, I thought my thanks were delivered to you by Augustius, the cleric, and maybe that's even how you'll learn the guy's name. It'll be great.
And then Jason's gonna roll up. Yeah, I got your thanks all right.
Yeah.
I gave him some of my own.
Yeah, that's right. Augustius can sleep off the 2 damage that he was done. Well,
is Augustius here? Is Alexander here?
I think so.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
This one's a bit slower of a move because we're waiting on we're down 2 players now, and we're waiting on a third to return. So. Tough stuff.
Does Jason notice after he does his morning routine that the herbalism kit's missing?
That is a good question, and I'm not entirely sure how we would calculate the answer.
I guess it would be a perception roll. Like, do I notice that my pack feels lighter?
I guess the biggest issue is it would have to be your passive perception until you were actually, like, when you're making a roll, it's to actively think of something, and if you have no reason to do that, then there's no reason to make the roll, right? So that's sort of where it comes down to, is like, you could probably make the argument that you don't recall if like where everything was, so you check, see what's going on, but I don't know how top of mind the herbalism kit would even be. Like,
how's this sound? Jason's not used to sleeping well at all.
Yeah.
He's a rather paranoid individual. Maybe I make a wisdom check with disadvantage, that if it's high, he feels like something's off, and that leads him then to a perception check where he just goes through his things real quick, or checks his room out and stuff like that.
All right, yeah, let's roll that.
Mid.
To see if you notice something. If
I feel like that sleep was too good.
I feel like at a mid roll, that's like pretty, like, you're not sure, you're not convinced one way or the other, but you can kind of just shrug it off.
Yeah.
It might be something to reconsider later. Like, you might feel like you might share that information, like, oh, I slept unusually well or whatever. Especially for how angry I was at the scaly.
Yeah, that's mainly the thing, is that he had a shit night and then he had really good sleep. That's not how Jason usually rolls. So.
Right.
But they take his thanks for the gods and all that, and thinks maybe his sacrifices with Umberly are paying off or something. So he writes it off. He gathers his things. He doesn't notice that his pack is any lighter because he's carrying, 6 swords, 13 daggers, 3 javelins, a net, a cutlass, a scimitar, 2 short bows, a light crossbow, 1 great sword, a shield, and then his armor and all the other shit.
Okay. That is quite the loadout.
He looks like Iron Man with all the blades on him. They're freshly polished too. They all bear the mark of Ibanar on them. You know, you would think that he's like one of them at this point, with just how much shit he has that has their logo on it. Parts of his armor are,
Well,
in which case, I guess he heads down to the tavern to get his morning drink.
Right after his cure-all, his wake up.
Yeah. Actually, let's see. Let's roll something here.
Okay, I'm
Jason will
slightly
not
back.
do a morning drink. Instead, he will exercise this morning for the first time in God knows how long.
I know that was in the middle of stuff, so I will let you guys do all that, and then we can. I'm assuming
he's time traveling, so yeah. It's still
I figured we can just go back. Yeah.
So you can just do your thing now because he's just planning his morning action, basically. So you concocted your poison to the extent that you were able to. Say that you felt the presence of spiritual guidance guiding your hand in a different way on the concoction. And yeah, that's like one thing.
And then I mixed that with my water pouch.
You have a water skin, so you could fill it there. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll do that. And then I'll drop the disguise and I'll make my way to the clock tower.
Okay.
Although I imagine this will show Fred.
It sure will.
Which is fine.
Well, Fred was what you had on you anyway when you first talked to some of these guards. So. While it's still odd, it probably wouldn't be very...
Yeah, there's a lot of odd things about a 4-foot bird, so I'm assuming Fred is the least of them.
The fact Fred did not ribbit the whole time he was on your shoulder in that tavern.
Well, even if he did, he was too quiet. Also, he only ribbits when Shoulder says something or is talked to by somebody, so he wasn't talked to. Nobody interacted with. Oh my god. Well, that's funny. That'll be later. Okay, so you're making your way to the guard at the clock tower, and as you approach, he'll look to you and give you a nod and say, "Captain has agreed to meet with you, but I believe he's going to be rather unhappy."
Unhappy? Why?
Something about not wanting another interruption. He's presently going to be awaiting you in the armorer's area, and he gestures down the street towards the letter I on the map.
You want to make it to the U.S. Shoulder, maybe a little skeptical, is going to say, why the change of location?
He was in the middle of something he deemed too important to pause.
That's That's understandable. He's a captain. Okay. I will leave at once.
All right. So you're going to get there to the armorer's structure, right? Armor Orin structure. I think you were there when Jason and Benson were looking for equipment and stuff.
So yeah, we were all there.
Yeah.
I remember.
So you'll approach there, and the captain of the guard will be standing outside of the structure with a rather unsavory look on his face. And as he sees you approach, he'll say, I was told there's a matter of grave importance you are aware of. I need to know the details immediately.
How... You said he looks like... What did you say his face looked like?
He's just unpleased. Very displeased.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah. Shoulder's gonna say, yes, grave importance. Perhaps, maybe more private meeting area. I don't want to scare anyone.
The guard captain will look around at the nobody on the street and then say, then keep your voice down.
Shoulder is going to clear his throat. He's going to say, I'm a kobold. I can only mimic sounds.
Kobold?
Kobold. Oh, wow. Kenku. I didn't say that. That's funny, though. I'm a Kenku. We only speak in mimics. People don't really whisper to me.
With a roll of his eyes, the captain will open the door and step inside, beckoning for you to follow. And as you enter the structure, you'll see that it has been cleaned up and prettied up since the last time you walked in. There are far less damaged weapons strewn about. The place seems to be empty of any other human life, though you faintly hear beyond another door a steady fall of a hammer on an anvil, indicating that at least one other human is within this structure, or at least one other entity is, but they are not in vision. They're not within eyesight.
All right. Closing the door behind him, unless the captain did that.
Oh, you were the last in, so you can do that.
Yeah. All right, closing the door behind him. Shoulder is going to say, yes, Captain, my spider, one of many, as you know, delivered me a parchment paper. It said that it was a report from someone saying that there was a black goat that came out of the mouth of a snake.
His face will visibly contort from displeased to deep concern, and he will say, "You said a spider saw this?"
No, a spider found a piece of paper and delivered it to me. They like to explore during the nighttime, during the evening, that is. And I was given it when I awoke.
Are you presenting the paper to him, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, it would stand to reason that he remade it.
Yeah.
Through his mimicry. Unless you want me to roll again, but I don't know.
No. So you transcribed it into a real piece of paper then?
Yeah. He would have transcribed it into a real piece of paper.
Okay. Well, that saves that problem, because assuming you present it to him, the guard captain is going to snatch it from your hand demandingly and read through it. And he will say, there'll be like a grave sort of like sigh and huff. And he'll say, "And I thought she would go with them." He looks up at you and says, did you encounter any signs of this creature, this goat, or these serpents in your adventures? Anything that wasn't included in your report?
Shoulder is going to think, and he's going to say, well, my spider told me something of concern, but I just assumed it was the imaginative mind of one such creature. He said there was something about a being, a deity, giving strong magical powers to animals of the forest. And, well, we were told of a teleporting wolf, and I believe someone even got close to hitting it. But all we really ever saw was shadows in the night.
Looking disconcerted, he'll go back to reading the paper again, as if scanning it for anything else valuable, or perhaps rereading a part of it that he scarcely believes. Then, looking back to you, he says, I will need to discuss this with my men once dawn arrives. And for the first time since you've walked up to him and ever seen him, in fact, doing this, he's actually going to have like a more like an expression of gratitude on his face, and he'll put like a hand on your shoulder gently, the one that's not frogged, and he'll say, I do thank you for this. Without advance warning of this creature's arrival, we could face something far more dangerous than any of the bandits or any of the criminals that you have brought to justice. You.
Shoulder's gonna look at him. He said you to you. Not Shoulder. My brother said you to you.
You.
All right. Shoulder is gonna look at the captain, and he's gonna. You said he placed a hand on my shoulder?
Yeah, as like a gesture of his gratitude, basically.
Just for no point in particular, does that hand happen to be covered?
He is wearing a glove, but not a gauntlet. It's like a leather glove.
I could seep through. No. All right. Dude, I can only imagine. Sorry, this is really off track. I can only imagine his brain being like, all right, I'm going to put my hand on this guy's shoulder. Not that one. There's a frog on it.
Yeah.
All right. Shoulder is going to say, do you like animals of the forest?
He's gonna let his hand drop from your shoulder, but not like in an offended way, just like he's like, his face looks a little bit perplexed, as if it's like a off-topic question, right?
Yeah, it's meant to, no, it's meant to just be like very abrupt and almost like shocking.
He'll say, well, I wasn't exactly... I wouldn't exactly call myself a woodsman, but I don't believe I've had any bad memories out in the woods, communing with nature. It is good to refresh yourself when you're so caught up in the hustle and bustle of city life. The problem, he begins, clearing his throat, is when things like this creature take what is wild and free and enslave them towards an evil purpose.
Shoulder is going to think, and he's going to start nodding, and he's going to say, well, yes, it doesn't sound the nicest. Is this city trying to expand? Step on nature's toes, so to say?
he'll give you a sort of cockeyed look and say that the city has not gained any ground in years, and not because of the forest, but because of those damnable bandits.
Shudder's going to nod along, and he's going to say, he's going to sigh, and he's going to say, okay. Yeah. Can I trust you?
You have trusted me with much information already. I see no reason for you to not. And he kind of... He's standing before you still, but he almost like leans back just a little bit, as if to try to size you up more completely.
And the shoulder's going to say, I have trusted you with much information so far, but I have not been completely truthful. The report, it is not from a spider of mine. Yeah, Spider-Man. It's not from a spider of mine. It's from me. And I was there firsthand. This black goat, it spoke to me, trying to lead me into an evil place, as you said.
He's definitely got... You have his attention for sure. His eyebrow is cocked, and he's sort of like taking one half step back with one foot to properly get a look at you, and he says, "And did you agree to be led?"
Outwardly. Inwardly, you may not believe this, but I made sure to keep my intentions my own, to make sense of what I can find. And with that, he is going to the water skin. It's a thing that can be opened and like poured out.
Yeah.
With that, he is going to like hurriedly like open his water skin. He's gonna like open the door halfway and just like pour it out onto the ground.
Okay.
And he's going to, and as he does this, he's going to say, "I'm afraid. Well, you're probably used to this. You are not safe. The goat. It wants you dead."
He's almost going to start chortling, like he catches a couple laughs in his throat, and then coughs a little bit from it, and he'll say, "I certainly didn't expect that." And as he rests a hand upon his longsword that is still attached to his belt, he'll like make it obvious to you that that's what he's doing, and he'll say, "I know not the extents of this goat's power, but I am capable of defending myself and Sestan."
Is my speak with animals still up? It's probably been more than 10 minutes, right?
Since you talked to Fred, yeah, it was 20 minutes in the tavern alone, so plus the time it took you to grab the supplies, so you'd have to do it again.
I talked to him after I left the tavern, but I'm assuming it would be around ending anyway.
It's very close to ending, yeah.
His shoulder is going to quickly look and say, "Fred, are you evil?"
Mm-mm. Yes.
How do I want to do this?
Clearly, he's lawful evil because lying is not. Is not in his nature.
He's just true neutral evil.
Shoulder is going to look to the captain, and he's going to say, "I'm afraid the black goat has given this frog unnatural power. And he's gonna try and like shake Fred off. Like trying to like get him onto the ground, basically.
The captain will have a very raised eyebrow, and then looking down at the frog that lands before him on the ground, he'll say, "What could a frog possibly have for power?" You expect that that's what he was going to say anyway, because Fred then swallows him.
Oh, fuck!
What?
Shoulder recasting speak with animals, assuming he still has to, is going to say, Fred, what the hell?
Fred's mouth is very tight-lipped as he's struggling to keep the guard captain down. He does not respond to you verbally.
Shoulder is going to take a hand and he's going to slap him on the back, trying to give Fred the Heimlich maneuver.
Okay, let's see. Oh shit! I think that's
Animal
sleight of
handling.
hand. No. Well, that's funny too. I think it'll be sleight of hand.
That's a fucking 7.
You smack him on the back, but all he's successful in is making his lips open up for a moment, and you just hear this "oh!" from inside his gullet.
Fred is Fred. I'm discombobulated. Shoulder is going to say, Fred, spit him out. He's still living.
Fred refuses to do so.
All right. Instead of slapping him on the back, the Shoulder is going to try and kick Fred in the stomach.
Okay, like you have to go underneath the front.
Yeah. Is this another sleight of hand?
That will be athletics, I think. Because you're just trying for power, right?
Yeah. Power and accuracy. I'll say athletics. That's fine. Holy fuck.
Almost a nat 20.
That is a nat 20.
Oh, that is a nat 20. Holy shit. With pinpoint accuracy, you strike Fred the Frog directly in his stomach, and then, feeding off of your roll of 20, we'll say you immediately recognize what's about to happen and sort of duck underneath or off to the side just fast enough to avoid the incoming captain who vomits forth from Fred the Frog's maw and emerges covered in slime and goo, and trying his best to just ruffle it all out of his face and his it's not super it's not like a thick layer, but it's enough that it's very much obviously like been inside the stomach or whatever, and he's gasping and screaming and like trying to get his bearings, and as he is on all fours trying to like shuffle away from Fred, he'll say, "That thing is a demon, and within its stomach a portal."
Shoulder, hearing this, is going to say, ripping out his dagger, is going to say, "I'm sorry, Captain, I didn't know," and he's just going to try and stab Fred.
Give me an attack roll from the dagger. Okay.
There's no way his AC is higher than 14, bro. He's a frog.
Yeah. I have to check his. Hold on. Oh, fuck you. Okay. All right. So, Fred is dazed from your kick, but picks himself up. He sort of like turns himself upright and looks up at you as you reach out down with your dagger to strike at him. And he's going to open his maw once more at a pretty opportune time, I think. And as he does,
no, you can't eat my dagger. No,
as he does
it's my dominating dagger. Please, Fred.
As he does so, you're going to see a light emerge from inside Fred's maw. For a split second, you swear you can see the moon through it in the distance, as if within Fred's maw is a panoply of the night sky. And then that light is obscured by a huffing form of a goat head that peers directly at you with red eyes before Fred's mouth sort of like you stab into Fred's mouth, but rather than, as you feared, him clasping his mouth down to steal your dagger or to eat you even, his maw actually begins to almost invert, like his lips are curling, turning over, almost becoming inside out right before your very eyes. And more undulating flesh continues to move open over the creature, the frog, the once frog, as it slowly begins to be enveloped by the insides of its own maw. You have scant few seconds to retrieve your dagger from this undulating mass of flesh.
I will do that and dive backwards before Fred eats himself and the universe.
Fred does indeed seem to almost eat himself, turning into nothing but a fleshy orb that levitates gently, pulsing still, undulating before your very eyes, and then shoots directly to the north, up into the air, and beams through the ceiling, going straight up into the sky, eventually disappearing from view, but leaving a hole within the structure.
So Fred is gone.
Fred is gone.
Holy shit.
Hello, I'm back.
Welcome back, Alex. I didn't become a degenerate shithead bird.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Anytime I get...
I actually didn't. I saved the captain. Fred had him in his mouth, and I stopped Fred from eating him.
My goodness, why is there a terrible echo?
The frog was a hell portal.
Oh, wow. Well, congratulations. The Starfather is pleased. And I'm glad that we don't have a party fight already, because we totally would. If that was found out that you killed a captain of the guard, there would be no avoiding it. It would literally just happen. So that's nice.
Well, wheezing and panting, the captain of the guard is going to rise to his feet and say, "Great stars above, you had no idea what you were dealing with."
I thought he was just a cool frog.
What is it that this cool frog of yours promised you? What is it that you seek that you cannot find by being a member of civilized society?
The frog didn't promise me anything. I met with the black goat itself.
And did she give you anything you wanted? Anything you desired?
She told me you were a menace of sorts to animal kind, and that you sought to hurt nature. I simply made sure it wasn't true, and now I feel very bad. He'll say this as he looks through the hole in the ceiling.
Well, now you see what nature can wring out of a thing. Clearly, this is not natural. Ugh. And he'll continue dusting himself off, getting rid of the sticky phlegm and etc. He'll say, "Whatever that thing was, it certainly wasn't a frog. Do you think it good that we must now second-guess every animal that we see in the wild or otherwise? You know what this will mean for the short term? The laws that will need to be implemented? The policies of the guards? We'll need to find some way to magically scry out when a creature is more than a creature." This is a grave matter.
This is why can I help you deal with this black goat? It seems only right.
It seems that this black goat is the next in line of existential threats to Sestan. But the people need hope. So for now you can help by attending your ceremony and being present for your awards. And we will speak not of this ill-fated attempt on my life. There's also the matter of those clerics and monks from the monastery up north. I sent one of them to your party. I do not know if he spoke to you. And he'll look at you expectantly, needing an answer.
He spoke to us, yes. Well, he didn't take kindly to Jason.
Ha! Well, nobody would. Now, listen closely. Those from the monastery came here to help with the bandit problem. And at least that one was very much displeased when he found out that there were no bandits left to rid of this world. So I'm sure that he will be most pleased to find out that there is in fact something he can assist with. We'll see about figuring out the whereabouts of this black goat, but if she travels by tunneling snake, I think we might be in for quite a difficult search. And there's no telling what she can see or not from any of the creatures that she may be puppeting, or whatever that was. And he too will look up at the ceiling.
Shoulder will say, I know of where I met her last. I don't doubt she will be there again, or even smart to instigate on her terrain, on her rules. But I can mark it on a map for you regardless. There are no more of them in our party. She told me that she does not like Jason either. And my animals all like Jason a little too much.
Ugh. The lout is good for something, even if it's just handling animals.
I don't know that he handles them well. They just think he smells good.
So maybe he is closer to animal than human after all. Then he'll finish with cleaning off his garbs. He'll say, I still have matters to attend to this night before I turn in. I suggest you find a spot to rest and prepare for the trials ahead. Surely this black goat will not make things easy.
Yes, I'm starting to worry about this black goat. But, well, I must go back into the forest briefly to get my other spiders and hope they have not too turned. She said she found them quite difficult to convince.
Let us hope that that is sufficient to guard them against any wrongdoings. But I think it prudent to prevent any of your animals from entering the city, large or small.
Well, if they learn of this black goat, they being the people, perhaps a show that not all animals are problematic could help. But I will let you be the judge.
Just make sure to check that dog of Benson's. And then he begrudgingly begins to walk outside and leaves you rather wordlessly. Makes ready to leave.
Shoulder. So how much time is it before I have to get them?
So you woke up at 10, and then it was a half an hour in the tavern, and 10 minutes just now. So we'll say, yeah, you've got like an hour an hour and 20 minutes, and it takes 30 minutes to get there. If you're riding Kyle. If you're walking, it's going to take you like the whole time, basically.
Being early never hurt. So Shoulder is going to hurry back, and he is going to wake Kyle.
Okay. You'll be let out of the through the gate once again. Also, I still can't get rid of Fred the Frog
That's Fred the Fraud.
Yeah.
Is Fistjaw awake or is he still sleeping?
Fistjaw is awake but quiet.
I still speak with animals, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't take 10 minutes to get back. Shoulder is going to ask, Fistjaw, have you met a black goat?
You speak of Versalin.
I suppose she was... Well, she's not very nice.
Huh. Some say that about Fistjaw.
Did you make a deal with her?
Why would a crocodile make a deal with goat?
That is the right answer.
You know, the beasts of the deep have a strong dislike of such creatures.
Perhaps that is why she hates Jason.
She hates things that smell good.
Shoulder is going to nod compliantly, even though he's blatantly wrong. And he's going to say, well, I'm glad you hate Versalin, because, well, it seems as though we are going to be fighting her very soon.
Fistjaw will kind of grumble about this, but not say anything else.
Shoulder will then say, he'll wake Kyle, and he'll say, me and Kyle are off to get the spiders. I do not ask you to come with us unless you want to.
I will stay and let the others know where you went if they ask.
Sounds good. And he will leave.
Well, there you go. Kyle is more than happy to charge fast.
Now this kind of feels bad on my part because I don't want to just take over the session, but
we can't do that right now anyways, because
okay.
Yeah. It's almost been I don't know how many hours, but
it's been 4.
Yeah. So.
Man, I ain't done shit.
Yeah, so we gotta wrap up on that stuff. The so basically while you were gone, Augustius, while you were gone with all that, there was a lot of back and forth between the captain. But basically the idea is that the ceremonies and executions and all that are going to happen as planned tomorrow morning, where Jason was planning on getting up, and I don't exactly know if he planned anything other than the fact that he's not going to drink for a change in the morning. But I know Benson's going to be shopping and like finishing up his list of things that he wanted to get done for downtime. Oh, yeah, Jason would sell his shit. Okay, that makes sense. They're both going to be doing, like, tradesman stuff. I don't know if Mithridates had anything of the sort to handle. And the Obviously, Shoulder's got his own shit that he's tending to. And then you were told of the ceremony that was planned outside the Temple of Lathandar. So it's basically in the city square. Do you have anything other than that you would want to tend to? Would you want to do anything regarding your compatriots that you went with, or anything about like general stuff, or are you mostly disinterested in all that?
Well, I thought I was gonna meet up with them when they talked to the guard. Well, yeah, I'll be at the festival.
Yeah, that's basically what's gonna happen. Is they're gonna be presented with like honor and stuff.
Yeah, I can't see a character reason why he would go back to them right now. So yeah, as of now, he's enjoying comfort and reading and nice meals and baths. So yeah,
so we're gonna basically have everybody there for that. The big trouble here is that we still are down Mithridates and we're down Fizz, who admittedly is kind of fish out of water in this anyway, since he wasn't part of the heroics. So what we probably need to do is wait for that ceremony to be like, say that we hold the session, we end the session as the ceremony is going to start getting underway or whatever. But if there's any interaction between the party members in between that, with regards to like going,
I thought we were gonna have the captain meeting at the tavern.
Yeah, and he sent Augustius instead because he didn't want to talk to you guys.
But he wants to talk now that Shoulder is. There's still some things to settle.
Well, I mean, Augustus will meet with them when the.
Augustius will be present at the ceremony, basically, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
And theoretically he said that he would meet Jason, Benson, Mithridates, etc. to
speak about the other problem.
Yep. Yeah. Which apparently the guard now knows a lot more about the guard cabs.
So yeah. Well, that's all turning out.
Okay, and then I guess we just wrap up then with of selling things, and Jason did want to find a shrine the Versalin and desecrate it, but that's all right.
Who is that?
That's the
Black Goat. Remember, I'm in a turf war.
I don't remember anything about your turf war. Sorry.
Beasts of the deep hate the land-bound.
Oh, okay. Well, don't you hate water? Like, aren't you land-bound?
Yeah, but he's slowly becoming water-bound. Slowly.
Again, I was a water person.
Yeah, he was a sailor.
I was
but now he's scared of water.
Yes.
Yeah. Coward.
One can be in service of something that they fear because they fear it.
Yeah. Well, it's true.
But yeah, so I guess Jason would, if he has so much time now to sell things, is that after he does his routine, he'd head to the Lathandar district.
Yeah.
And talk to the paladins about, okay, I'm not giving this to you for free, but I'll give you like the great sword, the bows, the light crossbow, the short swords, and all that for like at half the usual price. So like 5 gold for each short sword. 25 gold for a short bow. Cut that in half. And 25 for a light crossbow. 50 for a great sword. Jesus, must be quality. Stuff like that. He'd sell the shield too.
So you would get from the stuff that they would be interested in. What do you have? 6? You have 6 short swords God damn, I forgot about how many weapons you had. Jesus. Good grief. So
remember, we still have stuff on the caravan.
I know. So they'll take the great sword, the shield, the short bow. What, are you selling the short bow?
Yeah, I'm selling both short bows. I have 2 and a light crossbow.
And a light crossbow. They'll take one short bow, the light crossbow, the great sword. That's 50 gold altogether. They'll take the shield, which is 5. And then you got 55 gold right now. If you're selling them into it for half.
Yeah.
For short swords, they'll take 4 of them for 20. So you're at 75.
75.
Yeah. And then I think that's probably all they're going to have spare capital for. So you said that you were offering that to the paladins, right? That's what I was thinking you said. Okay.
And then he goes to the guards next, and he will be selling them all the javelins. Let's say he'll ask for half plus 2 for everything. So short bow would be, let's round down, so that would be 12. That would be 14 for a short bow.
Okay, they'll take
7
that.
for a short sword.
Yeah. Okay. So they'll take both of those. So that's 28 for you. And then for the javelins, is that what? 3? You're gonna just round down and say 3 silver for each javelin? They'll say you have 3 of them. Yeah, they'll hand you 1 gold for the 3 javelins. And then you got 13 daggers. Yeah, same. I'm so used to D&D at night, dude.
Yeah, and like I haven't like done anything, so I'm like trying to pay attention and then just drifting off in a la la land.
Well, it's definitely not the most titillating stuff, the sales stuff. So we should probably just do that during downtime. We should ask you, Augustius, about if you want to make up some ideas about like the common types of characters in your dragon monastery. You mentioned that like you would have researched Elvish. I don't know if elves would actually be a part of it. I know there's going to be at least one Gogrami in your monastery or like around it. That's the Goliath equivalent. They're basically made out of the earth as opposed to being organic.
Right. No, because of its like location in the middle of like 3 cities, and you got the waste to the north, and I would imagine that it's certainly not monoracial, and humans, and if there's dwarves that are around here, I don't know. There's probably a few elves.
Not very many dwarves, so I don't think there'd be any of those. There would be a few elven refugees that would probably be there, yeah.
And I don't know other humanoid races that live around here. So, but anything that might gravitate toward that because of its location, anything in like a big circle around it.
Yep.
Might end up there.
Okay, so if there were 4 of you, then the other 3, there'd probably be like, there could be like 2 humans and an elf, or there could be like a human and an elf. And
there's only like 4 total in the whole monastery?
No, with you in the trip. So.
Oh, okay.
The monastery's probably got like 50 at least, I would imagine.
Yeah, exactly. And of course they get pilgrims like every monastery does, so.
Beggars and would-be trainees and upstarts and all.
Acolytes and people just being like, I just need to get away from the world for a while.
Classic move.
Oh yeah. If you've never visited a monastery in real life, by the way, you absolutely should.
Yeah, it's pretty legit.
It is very legit.
Not speaking from experience, but it was pretty good. So So 3Crawl, I'll message you about your tasks there, but I'm pretty sure everything can get done, especially in time. Did you have a specific idea about what you wanted Benson to train Brother with? Like, was there a particular task you were going to be working towards?
I will try to train him so that on my turn, I can try to use a bonus action to command him to attack something.
Okay.
Might take a while, but there's a goal.
Yeah, if that's the goal, then I think what we would do is we would make it so that you'd have to succeed at a certain DC animal handling check, and then like the DC of it would just keep dropping until eventually it was a guarantee, depending on how, like, with the training, right? So that could be your bonus action of choice, which would be to do that. So I can add that to. I will leave myself a note to add that to your command thing as a feature you can do.
Okay.
And then the note about Augustius is that we got to figure out what he's going to be doing with his the people of his that he came here with, so the fellow monks. So that makes sense. And then obviously shoulder, because shoulder is a big crow. I almost wrote 3 crow. Shoulder is spiders. Okay.
Wait, what are we writing notes about?
I was just leaving myself notes for what to do for the
Okay.
in between this and the next time we do this.
Yeah, I know my stuff is my stuff is in theory fairly quick, and I also know that it's very one player-y because I'm not bringing anyone, and it's while everyone else is asleep. So
yeah, we can essentially just resolve that without needing the session. We can just talk in your thread about that or whatever, and then when you return, you can decide, like, we'll go back and forth about that on an individual basis.
I didn't know if you just wanted to like single session it, like 1v1 session it, or
that's
just
fine. We'll
do
figure
it down
out for that.
Yeah, that's fine.
So, with all that said, we have discovered some very bizarre things about Fred the Frog, who is actually Fred the Fraud, and the scary thing about the future is that, of course, the city is apparently not quite safe yet. But also that there's that tension because Benson is also supposed to be on his way with the caravan, so that's its own thing. But there's also the open question of how we make sure Augustius, whether or not like he's going to be along for the ride, right? Like, how is he going to figure that one out? So that's another thing.
We should tell Augustius that we're going back to check out the bandit fort, but since he doesn't know where it is, we just start going to Stenbersky and don't say anything.
I don't know if Augustius would go for that once he figures out that he's been had.
Don't lie to the cleric of justice and order. It's not
Jason did say that thing about the summoning circle. Whether Augustius cares about summoning circles is yet to be decided, I suppose. But
I can't remember what he said about a summoning circle.
He said that you're the hired help. You must have been here to help us with that summoning circle or something. That was what he said. And
yeah. Okay.
So that's another thing that was like, if we sum up everything you learned today, you learned that the party fought not just bandits but also demons and undead, and like wicked spirits and strange beasts, and also that apparently there was a summoning circle involved somewhere.
So he would definitely inquire about all of this from the captain of the guard. wanting to know as much detail as possible.
Yeah, you would have found like looking for another audience with the captain or whatever. I imagine he would have just straight up barged back into like the meeting room with or whatever, like demanded him in the keep.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then he probably also would have written to the monastery to keep them appraised of the situation. So, you know, he is on a mission sent. You know,
do you have a method of
so.
would you imagine there's a method of providing information from a distance, or would this be more of a letter that you would hold, like it's a record that you can then bring back to them when it's ready, kind of thing, like when you do return?
Well,
or would you rely on like the royal courtiers, the couriers of the keep, considering they sent their own letters to your monastery, so they would be able to get there?
Yeah, it would probably be that. Like, if he was further away, he'd find some magical means, or even to do like communal like ritual to speak to them. But they're not like on the other side of the continent or anything. So
makes sense.
Yeah.
I like to imagine whenever he has to do a communal ritual, he's like always the one who's trying to do as much of the talking as possible, and then also he's never the one who keeps watch for it. That's somebody else's job.
Yeah, well, of course, absolutely. He's important.
Yeah. Important people don't watch. Don't.
Important people.
They're not the guards.
Watch.
Yeah.
Important people don't watch. The funny bit is like the way I built him, and probably what's going to end up happening is, yeah, he's kind of snooty and uppity, but he's also capable. Like it just doesn't come out of his ass. Like he can actually do things. He's just, you know, and his snootiness will, as we all would expect, lessen as he spends time with the party. So.
Well, I gotta say, in that first interaction in the tavern, I honestly thought you'd go a lot harder on Shambler, on Jason. So the fact that you kept it to the degree that you did, and you even took a hit to the face without it turning into a party brawl.
Well, no, he was to make a point.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, he's got to prove not only to them but to himself. He's like, I'm not a weak little pussy. I'm not a bitch. And you know what? The only reason you're angry is because I'm right. That's why you're angry. Yeah, you literally are a no self-control having drunken degenerate, probably hiding from woes and problems in the bottle of alcohol. And you are very selfish, and and that's why you sit here drinking, gambling, and reeking. So, he made his point.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Sounds like my cue to leave.
Yeah. It is 6:30, so we started an hour late, but it's okay.
That actually is less rare or less common than we would think. Even though we all wish it was not ever a thing. But yeah.
It was nice last week when we started on time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Next week we'll do that. We'll do that again. I'm too fucking. That's the duality of man. One guy says, "Yeah, that's how it'll be next week," and the other one says, "It'll never happen again."
Our boys, thanks for being dubbed.
Yep. Take care,
y'all. Next time. Let me know when we're doing that session.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. By the way, the Mountain Dew Baja Blast Hard is very good.
What is hard about it?
It's alcoholic. I literally found it at Quick Trip. It's 5% alcohol, hard Mountain Dew Baja Blast, 0 sugar. It tastes exactly like Mountain Dew Baja Blast, 0 sugar. You can't taste alcohol at all. I got it just because I was like, why not? I've never even seen this thing before, and I don't like Mountain Dew, but I like Baja Blast. So.
Yeah, I've had the Baja Blast 0 sugar. It's not terrible. So.
No, it's not terrible. But I can't stand drinking normal Mountain Dew. I just can't. It's just too much.
Anything with sugar I can't deal with. It's too sweet.
I mean, it's certainly, Mountain Dew is like one of the worst ones too. It's very bad.
Yeah, that and the fucking Cheeto dust, or no, Doritos.
Doritos. Yeah, gamer Doritos. Yeah. Yeah. I love how Mountain Dew and Doritos are just words that mean gamer.
Yeah. Balethal was able to listen to pretty much all of this, so that's good. He said I'm glad I am listening to this nightmare fuel.
Well, they still don't know his name.
Yeah.
Shambler so wanted to know terribly his full name.
He doesn't even know his partial name.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't even know his partial name, and the only reason he knows it's Augustius is because that's what's on the character card. So he will remain a mystery until whenever the hell this happens again.
I very much appreciate all of the names, especially the kobold name. That's good.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. It's just like all of that, and then just that.
Yeah.
That's it.
It'll be great when that's revealed to the party.
I know it will be great. It will be great. Not for him. He will be very upset.
Indeed.
But it's okay because it's character development. He has to learn. To accept everything about who and what you are. It's fine.
To develop into something worth accepting, perhaps.
Exactly. There you go. Look, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't be like Jason and hide away from your pain. You just have to embrace it instead.
You hear that, Jason?
That's right.
As you sell daggers to commoners. You hear that?
Dude, Jason, it's not the bird I'm worried about. It's literally Jason. It's the drunken, short-tempered Scotsman that I'm concerned about.
Well, I will definitely have to prep that ceremony. It'll be great. It'll be a grand time, and whatever happens after will also be very interesting and epic and
Hopefully things happen at the ceremony.
Things gonna happen.
Oh, okay, good. Otherwise, my character would just sit there the whole session and not do anything. That would suck.
It'll be a who's who, a gathering of sorts.
Oh boy. And meanwhile, on the other side of the continent, Derek suffers. Poor Darks. He suffers.
I think he might be the only one. Oh wait,
the only one.
I forgot about all of the others who are suffering.
Yeah, I don't think that's true. I think the others are in a pretty big pickle too. Pretty big pickle. I'm glad that Blink's character has evolved to be much more than a heartless, funny serial killer guy. So that's nice.
Yeah, pretty good. We will definitely. I am upset a bit that I'm not distraught over it, but I do wish that the power outage hadn't happened or had rectified itself sooner, because I was really looking forward to the Desazarin next session.
I know.
The one next week will be great.
Yeah. Darks has to be interrogated by a guy who now knows that somebody has a dragon egg, and Darks is the only guy with a backpack on, so it's probably not difficult to find out who that is.
The opening conversation is going to be, resuming what Narath was talking about, this Black Nexus stuff that only he knows about.
Yes, I'm a Black Nexus, and he's threatening people.
He's intimidating them, or trying to.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Darks is suffering.
Darks is suffering. It's like Narath is going to get us killed. This is great. But, Darks thinks that, in the forefront of his mind, but in the back, he's assured of Eternity's promise. So it's okay. It's gonna turn out fine.
It'll be worth it in the end.
It'll be worth it in the end. Starfather does not abandon his children. So
that's right. Even when that includes freakish
Wrath.
creatures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but I refuse.
Yeah. They might be able. They might abandon themselves, but he doesn't abandon them. So. All right, I'm now gonna finish that. Was it Gateway Man? Gateway Man.
Yeah, that's a good one. I gotta make a new one and upload it after this. So
Bro, what is with all of the videos with Zerg losing? I just watched these matches where Zerg, even Noblime. I can't believe Noblime lost.
Yeah, he should have won that one.
Dude, he absolutely should. I was like so pissed off. I'm like, no way. Like when he took that big fight and surrounded him on 3 sides, I'm like, it's so over. And then he lost everything. I was like, oh no.
And not only are Zerg losing, Protoss are winning. Gross.
I know, it's the worst. It's like, no. Where's the Escozy when you need them?
They're coming.
They're coming. They're coming.
All right.
Are you still gonna do that like tier 1 experimental version thing?
I'll do something like that. They'll show up in Uprising for sure, which will be funny for people. But I'll be working on that this week, so I'll catch you guys later on. GG's. Thanks for the session. Peace.
Take care, brother.